captured by the Indiana Pacers.
Alex Pillow wins the 109th Indianapolis 500.
This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Good morning and welcome into the Fan Morning Show. It is Friday. A lot of high school football on tap. Getting ready for another Indiana game on the road this week. Kevin's Notre Dame team also going to be playing on the road against SEC Arkansas. We'll give you all the details on that. Fever got a playoff game, of course, later on tonight over at the Fieldhouse against the Aces. Everything coming up roses. Good morning, Kevin Bowen. And in 1 minute late, our man James Boyd. Oh, my gosh. He's got the Grace Burger Indiana t-shirt on. And where in the world did you get the candy stripe pants? Oh my goodness! If you're using YouTube to check us out this morning, you can see James Boyd in the candy stripe pants.
Looks like AJ Boyd running out for a Sweet 16 game.
Yeah,
in
you
the
know,
arena.
Wasn't ideal. You know, it took me a little longer to get here this morning because you had to put the pants on. And I stared at myself for about 10 minutes. Like, are you really gonna do this? Are you really gonna honor this bet, James? But as I told you all,
You're a
stay
stand-up
tuned.
guy.
Yes, the candy stripes are on. Happy Friday to all the IU Hoosier fans who told me that I would be eating crow and humble pie all week long.
I don't think there's been a man happier that be the end of the work week than James.
You look great. The candy stripes fit great, James.
Yeah, candy stripe
You
pants.
look like you're ready to be inside of
I look
Assembly
like
Hall.
a ridiculous human being.
For those watching on the YouTube channel, I wish they could have seen your face when you saw the candy stripe pants for the first time.
I thought they were excellent. I thought they were absolutely excellent. James Boyd, great work. I thought for a split second, honestly, my first initial thought was, damn, James Boyd's going all out for Team USA here on Friday of the Ryder Cup. Not a lot of blue in the wardrobe, but hey, red's better than nothing here.
Even got the matching red swoosh Nikes on
Yeah,
today.
I got the red swoosh Nike. I got red everything right now.
Swoosh there.
And so, yeah, I'm seeing a couple of comments. I was on time for the record, but I told the guy, I said, I should probably walk in late with this because it feels like that's what Illinois did in that matchup last weekend.
They didn't walk in at all. What do you mean late?
Yeah.
Did they ever get there?
Yeah,
They stayed in
I'll give
Champaign-Urbana.
myself a little more credit than that team that I saw last week. So hopefully that gives you all a laugh here on this Friday morning as we get off to a fun start.
We are off to a fun start. Good morning, everyone. As I mentioned, we've got a huge weekend coming up. You have no ties to Iowa. We can't extend this at all, right?
Nah.
Is there something else you're interested in this week we can get you baited into?
I think I'm scarred for life after last week. I don't eat humble pie very much, but I got a little bit more eating to do before I can get back on the I'm not humble train.
I think the moral of the story is you're making student loan payments to Illinois and paying up on their bets.
Exactly.
That's like Kevin may or may not be part of the show all day today. I noticed the swivel of the chair has you somewhat focused on the Ryder Cup that's getting ready to tee off at Bethpage Black this morning.
Yeah, there's no somewhat focused about it. It is all the way focused. So apologies that this will be second fiddle for the next 3 hours. It's a top 3 sport fan viewing day in the calendar. What days would you guys put into your top fan sport viewing days of the year? This is easily top 3 as we see a flyover here at Bethpage State Black as we're getting ready to tee off here to start the Ryder Cup. Anybody?
I am on all NFL all the time. There is nothing better to me than the divisional round weekend of the NFL playoffs.
Okay. Mark Dayton?
Yeah, I would say there, and then also the first couple days of the March Madness tournament.
Sure.
Yeah,
James
that's not
Boyd,
bad.
you got any big sport fan viewing days outside of...
Got to go March Madness. I think anytime you look at the Olympics and you get to the finals for track and field, that's usually pretty exciting. And then the last one is the World Cup. I'm not a big soccer or football guy, but however, when it's the World Cup, the energy is different. I feel like it's a bucket list item for me. I would love to experience that at least once in my life because that fandom is something else.
Might need to kick all of you out of the state of Indiana for none of you saying the Indy 500, so I will say that.
Well, I went to my first one. I feel like I got to get a little more experience
I don't
there.
have any problem with that. I mean, you're asking me to choose between my children in a lot of ways.
Well, I think in this state, Indy 500 over the divisional round of the playoffs.
Wait a second.
certainly-
Did you mention Indy 500 before you put us on the spot?
I haven't given my list. Now
Okay.
You sound like Mr. Ricker when he was picking his Reds players the other day.
8,500 easily. I'd probably also, Mark, go with the March Madness and just in general especially the first 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like if you could go there, I can hear you out on divisional round. Masters Sunday is always something for me, and I'm curious if over time we get to that college football playoff. Does that quarterfinal Saturday? Remember how bad the 3 games were this year on that Saturday? But you get 3 of those games, 1, 5, and 8, or however they spaced it out. Or even maybe if the semifinals start to be on the same day. I know last year they had them back-to-back. Obviously, we had in the quarterfinal round, I think we had the tragedy in New Orleans. Notre Dame, Georgia got pushed today. Does that day start to become on the sport calendar? But I'm giddy. I can't wait. Keegan Bradley has already given us a let's effing go to the crowd with the full Mark Dykton full dump button on that middle word there. Ball's in the air here in 4 minutes.
I saw Bryson walking down. He looked like a man that's determined and a guy who's going to have a biggest fanboy in Kevin Bowen.
He's going to try to drive the first green.
Yeah, Bryson will Happy Gilmore it here on 1. So we are 4 minutes away from that.
They were talking about that yesterday. What's your strategy coming out here? And Bryson said, I might just go for the green on number 1. It's a bit of a dog leg right, and he thinks it's about 365 to the front of the green. And Keegan Bradley's like, I think he should go for it. So I think we'll expect that, right?
1,000%.
So look for that. Can you imagine looking at something where the front of the green is 365 yards away and go, I think I can do that?
Yeah, I cannot imagine that. That is some talent,
right?
Oh man. Anyway, we'll keep you up to date on how that's shaking out all morning long. And again, Fever have their Game 3 of the Best of 5 playoff series with the Las Vegas Aces coming up later on tonight. And man, do we have you covered today, Kevin. I'm excited about what we'll be talking about today.
Absolutely. I know we are going to be talking to Kelly Krauskopf.
Yep.
Who is instrumental to the Fever franchise, also instrumental, I'll give her credit, also to the Pacers franchise. And so looking forward to talking to her from a front office perspective and also from a historic perspective. And I know, Kevin, on top of that, we also got a chance to hear from the Pacers front office yesterday as well. So a lot to cover today and a bit of a newsier, I think, Friday than before.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of news going on today. We have our normal lineup of guests today. Of course, Dominic Miranda is going to join us at 7:30 for Operation Football. A lot of really kind of sweet matchups in the middle of the season coming up a little bit later on tonight. We'll be talking about that as well, and he'll get us ready to go. And then Greg Rakestraw, we'll ask Greg Rakestraw what he thinks is the greatest weekend on the sports calendar. He might go with you on Indy 500, as involved as he is up there, too.
And, James, I think a bigger Friday than most here for the Colts. If you look at the injury report from yesterday, obviously Kenny Moore and Alec Pierce, we've talked a lot about their statuses throughout the week. We still have yet to see them at practice. Matt Gonzalez, the starting right guard, has missed the first 2 days. Again, the O-line's been intact through the first 3 weeks, which is not what you could say about their opponents here early in the seasons, particularly last week. So that, I think, is one to watch. And just anytime you see the not on the injury report Wednesday, limited Thursday, I'm always kind of worried. Braden Smith would be the guy that falls into that boat here on this Friday morning. Again, wasn't on the injury report at all Wednesday, and then yesterday he shows up limited. That can mean of varying degrees. Sometimes it just means, hey, I'm 30 years old and I needed a limited Thursday, and an ache and a pain happened, or the guy literally got hurt.
Yeah, you tweaked something in practice because we saw that with Latu
a couple weeks ago. So I believe a heel injury there for Braden Smith on that injury report. And the Rams have yet to have Devontae Adams practice. Now, Sean McVay, I think, said earlier in the week, the expectation is he will play. Their right tackle, Rob Havenstein, hasn't practiced either. I think the thought there is some veteran maintenance for both those players, but still, it's not a typical thing you see guys missing Wednesday and Thursday there.
No.
So huge one. Huge one in week 4. Can't imagine the last time I've ever said that about a Colts September game, but I really believe it here, and can't wait for Sunday at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I sent the video into our team over at The Athletic. They're making us do a lot more video these days, and my video yesterday was, I started off by saying, is Daniel Jones the MVP? And I know it sounds ridiculous. It's just 3 games. But we look at his numbers, they're MVP-like through 3 games, and so we'll see if he can keep it rolling against a Rams team that is perennially good. And also, if you are banged up as a Colts team, you go out there and win on the road. What does that say about your group? If you don't have all your horses, if you're down Alec Pierce, Kenny Moore, Matt Gonzalez, and you find a way to win in that environment against that team, I think that a lot of people look at you differently than saying, oh, you played a bunch of cupcakes to start the season.
3,500 people in this grandstand right here behind the first tee at Bethpage State
Doesn't
Black.
that look beautiful?
For those unfamiliar,
35,000 or 3,500?
3,500.
Okay.
I don't want to.
I'm just checking.
I don't want to act like Jake Query here in the NFL draft. Now, in the first tee, you have Justin Thomas and Bryson DeChambeau for the U.S. You have Terrell Hatton, John Rahm for the Euros. I'd call this four of the most volatile, combustible players you can have in the Ryder Cup. So both teams, both captains have said, we want our high-energy, volatile, borderline, might get tossed out of the Ryder Cup players out there in the first match. So fireworks should be abound early here at Bethpage State Black.
So here's my question. What's the over-under on club slams for this?
Well, Terrell Hatton himself will have about, I'd set it at about 4.5.
So for the group, 5.5?
No, I'm going to go a little higher than that. But
6.5.
Does this New York crowd get a little testy with the Euros? That will be a big topic all week long. I think that's a great view.
It look beautiful out there.
I think that is an awesome, awesome shot there. The first tee and the 18th green there on Long Island.
All right, we'll tell you all about all of it coming up over the next couple of hours. We've got a lot to do. As Kevin said, it is a big sports weekend, and you're going to hear about it all right here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
It is a busy, important weekend indeed in the world of sports. We're going to start close to home with a playoff game, the Fever. Game 3 of their best-of-5 series with the Las Vegas Aces tonight. 7:30 start, 7:15 airtime for the Fan pregame show with Eddie Garrison and James Boyd. Now there's a question, is Lexi Hull going to play in this game?
That is a question. I know that she has been listed, I believe it's probable for this game, which is a good sign, but from all the reports I saw yesterday, she was not very active during the media viewing portion of practice. But even then, I mean, is anybody really going to doubt the fact that Lexi Hull is going to play? I mean, I feel like it would take something very, very serious, not to discredit whatever she's going through, but can she walk? She can play. That's kind of her reputation so far in her WNBA career.
All right, and if you want to know more about that game tonight, we'll be speaking with the Fever team president, Kelly Krauskopf, I believe at 9:30 this morning. Is that correct, Mark Dykton? 9:30 today.
What they told me.
All right, but you don't sound convinced there.
I'm convinced.
She'll be here. Anyway, tonight the Fever and Aces, 7:30 p.m. over at the Fieldhouse. Colts play at the Rams 4:05 on Sunday afternoon, and I guess the only real thing after we've been talking about this all week long is the injury situation. You addressed it a little bit, Kevin, a moment ago, but what do we know right here, right now?
Yeah, so 3 Colts have yet to practice this week. That would be Kenny Moore, that would be Alec Pierce, and that would be starting right guard Matt Gonzalez. If Gonzalez can't go, I think Dalton Tucker would probably be the guy there. Undrafted free agent from 2 years ago. Did start, I don't know, James, probably 6 or 7 games for the Colts last season.
Yeah.
Now, they tried a lot of right guards last year, so that would be something to keep an eye on. And again, we'll see about Braden Smith. Popped up on the injury report yesterday with a heel injury, so just something to keep an eye on there. But yes, it is highly, highly anticipated, and I think plenty of storylines we can get into throughout the show today.
All right, we will talk about that. There was a game in the NFL last night, Thursday Night Football on Amazon. The Seahawks squandered a 14-point fourth-quarter lead. Kyler Murray leads a game-tying drive that culminates less than a minute to go in the game. And then the Cardinals kicker kicks the ball out of bounds and gives Seattle the ball at the 40-yard line. One pass later from Darnold to Jackson Smith and Jigba, and they get a game-winning field goal and escape on the road 23-20.
Yeah, it was actually one of those landing zone fouls.
Yes, you're right. It was landing zone, right?
But it's basically the equivalent of what you said, like kicking out of bounds. And so with the new rule, I think it has to land somewhere in between the 20 and another yard line, but it was short of that yard line. And so big penalty there that allows the Seahawks to hang on for the walk-off win. We saw the rookie, or second-year player, Marvin Harrison Jr., who was kind of struggling throughout the season. He bounced back late with the late touchdown pass, but I'm curious to see how he kind of navigates this season.
It was a great catch, too.
It was. You could tell it meant a lot to him because he's been going through a lot mentally just trying to prove himself in the NFL.
Well, he had a huge drop earlier in the game. That
led to an interception.
Led to an interception.
And he's had drop problems.
But you bring up that penalty, and I hate to nerd out over a kickoff penalty late, but Spencer Schrader has been whistled for a similar penalty earlier this year. It is one of those things where you get in these late game situations, you're kicker, and now it kind of sounds like Shane Steichen in week 2. There is some pressure around that kickoff. It's a little different in years past.
Are you for it or against it? I've seen both sides of the argument.
I like the play being more entertaining, frankly.
Yeah.
So
and safer than it had been in recent years, too.
Well, and again, I mean, returns are what, James? 80%, something like that? I mean, Brian Mason gives us those numbers every week. I mean, it's a very high percentage. So just kind of a wild finish there after the game. I thought was kind of a lull through the first 3 quarters.
And it was not a gimme. It was a 52-yard field goal that was
after
starting
Myers had just missed one.
Yeah, and it was starting to edge to the right, and it just got through by the time it got over there.
Hey, it's like anything. It's like shooting a free throw. You can bounce around the room all you want to. If it goes in, nobody remembers how you made it.
All right, that's what's going on there. Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black getting ready to tee off with the foursomes. I saw a stat earlier, Kevin, where in Europe, the European team has dominated the foursomes, while in the United States, it's been the opposite. The U.S. has dominated foursomes. Any particular reason for that, or is that just one of those out there stats?
Well, home soil, right? Isn't that for every sport?
But is it that big?
Doesn't Vegas say 3 points in an NFL game for home field? Is that correct?
Yeah, but the golf course can't jump up and tackle you.
Bryson buries it for birdie on 1. Team USA up 1. Have I told you how much I love Bryson?
This weekend,
I don't believe it.
What a start for the United States.
I just want everybody to realize
the Bryson drive, the Bryson putt, the U.S. up 1-0.
I just want everybody to realize I've got Kevin Bowen rooting for Bryson DeChambeau on my left,
Can
and
Bryson
James
run
Boyd
for president here
wearing
coming up?
candy stripe pants on my right. That's what I've got.
It's a hell of a Friday.
Indeed.
Mark, I might start drinking by the end of the show. We'll see what happens.
Oh, boy, let it rip.
All right, so that's what's going on there. Pacers had an interesting decision overnight. They've decided not to sign guard Monte Harris.
Morris.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Monte Morris. Concerns about a calf problem. If I'm the Pacers, I don't want anybody with a strained calf coming on the team right now. Do you?
Yeah, I was going to say, these calf strains, we definitely want to be careful with that. And so that deal never – so to clarify, and not to say you're wrong, but just for the listeners, because I was confused myself, they didn't actually sign him. They had agreed to terms with him.
To sign him.
And then when you agree but you don't put pen to paper, then you can kind of go back and change your mind a bit. So now the Colts will sign or plan to sign DeLon Wright, the veteran wing. He's a bigger player than Monte Morris, and so we'll see what that brings as far as the Pacers, because I believe media day is Monday, and then I want to say practice starts up Tuesday. So we're getting right down to it when it comes to Pacers preseason training camp, all the above.
All right, a couple of big college football games coming up tomorrow as well. The Indiana Hoosiers will put their 11th ranked team on the line on the road in a Big Ten game against Iowa. And as you pointed out yesterday, playing at Iowa is never a gimme.
No, not at all. But again, I think this is an opportunity for IU to continue to stack some wins. And, wow, Captain Obvious, James. But I think you've really put yourself, I think, on the map last week. And I don't say that like we didn't know who Indiana was, but that was a very, very much a statement win, and making sure you don't have a letdown after that in a big game on the road against Iowa, who Kurt Cignetti already said he expects a much bigger challenge from, which, when you win by 50 the week before, you're not saying much at all, right, Mark?
Kevin, Notre Dame on the road to take on the Arkansas Razorbacks. What do we need to know about that football game?
Notre Dame can't really defend anybody, and Arkansas scores a whole lot. So I believe the spread's 3-4, so not a big favorite at all, but we'll see if Notre Dame can get another one. And a great college football slate. Oregon, Penn State, at night, Georgia, Bama, Ole Miss, LSU. It is an awesome, awesome slate here. College football coming up tomorrow.
High school football, we're going to talk about quite a bit coming up in just 5-6 minutes with Dominic Miranda of Channel 13. Every Friday, Operation Football, as we team up with Channel 13 and Dom to give you all the ins and outs of what's going to be going on this weekend in high school football. And very quickly, the Reds stay alive last night. They beat the Pirates 2-1, some drama in the ninth, the game-saving catch. We'll talk about that more in the next hour. But the Cubs couldn't come through for the Reds again. They lose to the Mets 8-5.
Good.
Man.
Make it hurt.
All I know, now I've got Kevin to the left rooting for DeChambeau. I've got James wearing candy stripe pants, and you're rooting against the Cubs.
Not rooting against the Cubs, I'm rooting against the Reds.
That's real hate right there, Mark.
Man.
I ain't going to lie.
Man,
I do respect that by Mark.
Yeah.
I do think that's proper fandom. You know, it's very different than Jeff saying that his second favorite player was a Cubs player a few weeks back.
Get your blank done earlier in the season. You wouldn't be in this predicament.
You're not hearing any of that from Mark.
We will tell you more about all of that in about an hour from now. The Dodgers also clinched the National League West. But high school football is on our minds. Where in the world is Dominic Miranda and Channel 13 this morning? We'll find out next on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Fridays in this area, at least in my mind, belong to high school football this time of year, and that's why we have Operation Football in tandem with our good friends over at Channel 13. Dominic Miranda joins us every Friday morning at 7:30. The only question is, as we talk to him on the Payless Liquors hotline, is where in the world is Dominic Miranda today? Good morning, Dom. Where have you taken it this morning?
40 minutes away from downtown Indianapolis. Good morning, gentlemen. A pleasure as always. Cascade High School, the home of the Cadets, the second ranked in Class 3A, depending on the rankings you look at. Cascade Cadets undefeated, and what a show out this morning. 300-plus students. Unbelievable. All sorts of fun. It feels like fall. There was a dense fog in the air. I don't know, something ominous going on west of Indianapolis. It was pretty great, though, and what a time. We were at Cascade High School. Great hosts. It gets better and better each week. It truly does.
So, Dominic, I'm looking at Cascade's schedule so far. Obviously, like you said, 5-0, unblemished. They scored 77 points in a football game last week, not basketball, football. So what can you tell me about that offense that Connor Simmons is running?
Well, what I can tell you is they score, and they score a lot. It doesn't take, analysis, am I right? Pretty good there. They're averaging over 50 points a game, though, and only giving up 12. That's super impressive. And they're coming off, they have largely the same team as a year ago. They're coming off a 10-1 record a year ago, but unable to get it done in sectional. The principal was talking to me today, and what's funny is in the voting this week for Operation Football Sunrise Kickoff, it was between them and Garin Catholic. And he's like, well, what we wanted to do was kick their butts in the voting and kick their butts in the sectional, because they're in the same sectional as well. So a little trash talk there.
I like this principal.
Am I right? I know, right?
Bulletin board material. You hear that, Garin Catholic Eagles?
Whoa.
Tom Dilly put that in your locker room.
I loved it personally. And they get this. There was over 500,000 votes on Sunrise Kickoff to get it at Cascade. So they have 300,000. There's 500,000 total votes. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't ask how. I ask how many. It's fantastic. I say keep doing what you're doing. But as far as the team goes, yes, like largely the same team. A lot of success a year ago. They have their eyes set on sectional, and I think I heard Greg. I was talking to Greg Rakestraw at Colts this past week, and they have as good a chance to make a run at state in Class 3A as anybody. Like, I'm excited to see what they got going tonight. What I'm told from this morning is that their home games are a production. So I'm excited to see what they have in store, but it's good. It's their homecoming tonight. I have a feeling they're going to put up even more points and keep that average above 50, because their offense is legit fun to watch over there at Cascade.
Nervous for a second. Dom was going to take us down a counting votes pathway. I wasn't expecting that jerk of the wheel here on this Friday morning. Dominic Miranda live, Cascade Operation Football. That is where he is at here as we are week 6 into the high school football season. All right, last week I see you doing the crowd surf, and I had not come across the video until the show ended. Dude, we need a stunt man for you. Are you good for all these things Friday morning? I'm a little worried about you and your family.
I did say my insurance is up to date, okay? So took it in my own hands, and whatever the kids are wanting and whatever sets them apart, like what had happened was I usually just kind of go, impulsive kind of stream of consciousness. What's gonna be fun for this particular morning? And they were doing a bunch of their own little crowd surfs. So basically I looked at the student leaders there, and they were, the energy was insane. You think I chug Red Bulls? They were chugging some Red Bulls last week. And I'm like, look, can you guys catch me? And they're like, absolutely. I'm like, all right, say less. We're doing this. So it was awesome, and it looked great on TV. So, hey, that's all I mean.
That's what makes Operation Football so great. Dominic Miranda, Channel 13, joining us here on the Payless Liquors hotline, as he does every Friday morning for Operation Football. All right. Rematch of the state in 6A last year. Brownsburg, Westfield. Is this the week somebody pushes Brownsburg?
Well, they have as good a chance as anybody. Brownsburg is a buzzsaw, but I saw some cracks there 2 weeks ago against Avon, a team I felt like Brownsburg could handle relatively easily, turned into a 55-47 shootout. Now, Brownsburg kind of got back on the horse last week, really taking it to Fishers, which I thought, and I remember coming on here and saying Fishers had as good a chance as anyone to beat Brownsburg, but Brownsburg at home is a different animal. So not entirely shocked that they ran away with it there. But their offense, if you can somehow stop their offense, you're going to have a good chance. I don't know if that's possible, but I do know that Westfield, not bad in that arena. Only loss early in the year I was at this game to Carmel, and I got to tell you, with the way things are trending, a Brownsburg-Carmel state championship would be an absolutely awesome football game. So keep that in mind just for later down the road. But look, Westfield's got them at home, coming off a big win over HSE. They've won 3 in a row since that loss to Carmel. This will definitely be their toughest test since Carmel. And we'll see if they can get it done. I think they have a solid shot, but I'm hard-pressed to find anybody who can give Brownsburg a run for their money.
Dominic Miranda with us here, WTHR, again, Operation Football on this Friday morning. A little 3A love, a great matchup, Indian Creek and Tri-West. Fortunately for Jack Sorge, he throws more like his mother's athletic traits than his father's athletic traits. I'm hoping Jim Sorge listens to that and hears that comment right there. But that's one of the marquee games of the night there. And, of course, Jack Sorge, for those unfamiliar, committed to Louisville to sling it for the Cardinals here coming up in a few years.
Yeah, he's got the look of a QB, and I was talking to their head coach, Jason Ward, earlier this week as we were doing our preview prep, and he didn't focus on football until this past summer. He was a baseball guy, and then it became clear that football was his path, and he committed to Louisville and loves Coach Brom. He was telling me, an intense guy, Coach Brom, very intense guy. But Jim Sorge's one of the coaches on staff there at Tri-West as well, and to hear Jack Sorge, a junior in high school, talk about watching film and, his football knowledge, clearly a former NFL QB's son. Unbelievable the way he dissects and, talks about the importance of film and the importance of dissecting defenses and having the resource of his dad. And I'm like, dude, when I was a junior in high school, I was just worried about, the homecoming dance after football. This is insane.
Is Steak and Shake open until 10? Can I possibly go there?
Exactly. No, but he's been throwing it all around the yard, too. They're averaging up around 40 points per game. A couple weeks back, had their first loss of the season, but kind of got back on the horse, putting up points, failed to score over 20 just that one game, and they lost. When they're scoring and clicking, they're winning games. Not the biggest team, but super fast, super skilled. And Jack Sorge, man, he puts it on a rope. We've had a couple of highlights of Tri-West on our air at 11 o'clock, a couple weeks in a row now, where he's just putting it on a string. The Speedway game comes to mind. He looks above his peers in a big way. It's understandable he's a Division I quarterback. It already is. But excited for the matchup. I think it'll be fun. Class 3A top 10 matchup tonight with Indian Creek.
Dominic Miranda from Channel 13, WTHR, joining us for Operation Football this morning. And the last one I have for you in the high school front is, I know you have a bunch of other games you all will be getting around to, and so who else do you have on tap for tonight, or would you plug for tonight in some of the marquee matchups?
Yeah, we wanted to spread the love down a few classes. We've been sticking to 6A, and hard to blame us, I must say. 6A football is pretty impressive here in our state. But, yeah, we got Tri-West and Indian Creek. That's our headliner. And then Brownsburg and Westfield, obviously, what a second course there. But then we got games like Fishers and Avon. That really intrigues me. Two teams that have had really nice wins this year, but some setbacks as well. Who's going to win that? I think that's a top 10 matchup there in 6A. Bishop Chatard and Guerin Catholic, always fun with those two, get together. And then one in 5A, Plainfield, ranked third, taking on Decatur Central on the road. Nice in-conference matchup there. Decatur Central's first year in 6A, off to a tough start. First 2 weeks, get this, Decatur Central has scored 150 points the past 2 weeks. Combined. They are angry. They don't like having lost the first two games. They are not accustomed to losing over there at Decatur Central. So taking it out on some opponents there. Excited for that matchup as well. And then, of course, we'll be back at Cascade hosting Crawfordsville. And also one more note on Cascade this morning for the homecoming festivities. Crawfordsville's mascot is an Athenian, and they had a cage where the football team surrounded this cage, and there was a guy dressed as an Athenian in the cage this morning. I'll just leave it at that. What a show.
At least they're not.
What a show.
Hey, how far are you from being put in a cage if you're crowd surfing all the time, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's my employer would probably tell you. Very close.
Great to talk to you every Friday morning, Dom. Have fun tonight. We'll be watching and just enjoy the ride, my man.
Hey, let's do it. Another great weekend of football here. We'll see if Notre Dame can stop a nosebleed.
Amen to that.
Nice on the way out right there, Don McMiranda.
I mean, he's a Notre Dame fan. I think he's calling out his own football team there.
Yeah, but he wanted to get you going a little bit, too. He wanted to get your eyes off the Ryder Cup. Thanks, Dom. We'll talk to you soon.
Bryson stinks. What a horrific shot of the third hole. I'm done with Bryson.
It's over now?
Done with it.
So you sound like me flip-flopping.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
We'll keep an eye on the Ryder Cup all morning long. Are they on hole 3 now? Already?
Hole 3.
Hole 3? All right. Anybody else on the course yet? That
yeah, a couple other groups out there. So electricity high and well on Long Island today with the Ryder Cup underway.
All right, we got the Fever tonight taking on the Las Vegas Aces, Game 3 of a semifinal series in the WNBA. And James Boyd, now we worry about Alexi Hull's back. She was in a brace yesterday, or at least something around the back there, not taking a big part of practice. Is she going to be available, and will she just join the long and growing list of injured players for the Fever now?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to kind of wait and see. We will hear from the head coach, Stephanie White, before the game, and we'll see if there's an update there. And obviously, when the game starts, we'll be able to see who's out there on the floor. But right now, just my own personal opinion, this isn't like reporting. It's just knowing Lexi Hull, how tough she is, that she's had a couple of days of rest. I would expect her to be available tonight.
Yeah, well, if you're probable, aren't you playing? I mean, I don't know WNBA injury report rules, but in the NFL,
I would think so,
they took away probable because if you're probable, you're playing, right?
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, I think
she's not even questionable.
I think the pushback there, Kevin, and this I agree with you, but it's just they didn't see her doing anything during the media viewing portion of yesterday's practice. So it's like, okay, what does that probable mean? Like, is there more to that? But at the same time, it's Lexi Hull. She's as tough as nails.
She is definitely tough. And look, it's been a very physical season in the WNBA. We've heard coaches from every quarter talk about that. It's been a very physical series with the Las Vegas Aces. Both coaches have complained about that as well. And, Chief, amongst that, I mean, Lexi Hull in that first 2 games, especially in Game 2, she was like a pinball, just being whacked around and put on the floor and getting back up and hitting screens again and all kinds of stuff going on.
Absolutely. I mean, beyond the city rooting for the Fever to win, I think all of us want to see just a more fluid game tonight. Game 2 was very stagnant. You had both coaches calling out the officiating because it was so start and stop with so many fouls and off-ball fouls and bodies hitting the floor. That was not a good brand of basketball to watch from a WNBA marketing standpoint.
No question about that. And, of course, airtime 7:30, tip time, airtime 7:15 with a fan or a pregame show. Eddie Garrison going to be doing all of that. In the meantime, I want to get back to the Colts just a little bit. Are we worried about these guys that haven't practiced on Wednesday and Thursday? Are they just being really ultra cautious and careful with these guys? Or, what's going to happen? What's your gut feeling on that, James?
I mean, you just have to be cautious about things, but also, I think Friday is a pretty big day for someone like Matt Gonzalez. Like Kevin pointed out, Braden Smith, does he continue to go backwards on the injury report? Is he a full participant today? Even DeForest Buckner, I know that he usually plays through everything, but if he's limited again today, does that mean he's going to be a pitch count on Sunday? Those things like that. So it is a bit of a newsier Friday, I would say, from the injury standpoint.
And you guys will be out there covering it later this afternoon, right?
Absolutely.
All right, sounds good. Kevin Bowen, when you think about this game with the Rams, this is a team that hasn't surrendered a touchdown to a running back yet. They've been able to put up points. They pushed the defending Super Bowl champions to the limit. Basically gave it up on a blocked field goal attempt that was returned for a touchdown. No question. We've talked about what a test is going to be for the Colts all year long, but if the Colts come out on top, the game looks like what?
Well, I think you're following a very similar script to what you saw the first 3 weeks, and I'd say it's probably got to be your best pass rush day of the season. That, to me, is probably the biggest question mark for the Colts through the first 3 weeks. How much can you create legit pass rush? DeForest Buckner spoke with the media yesterday, and I kind of found it interesting. He pretty much said feels like he's facing the most double teams he's faced in quite some time. Part of that is, yes, he is DeForest Buckner, and he's a very good player, but part of that is I don't think other teams respect anybody else.
Yeah, I was like, there's nobody else to block.
And that's very unfortunate. And I think it's limiting Buckner, and it's also just limiting their pass rush as a whole. So for me, that is a massive storyline for Sunday. You're banged up in the secondary. To go back, to the level of worry you asked about a few minutes ago, I'm very worried about Kenny Moore and Alec Pierce. I mean, anytime you don't practice the first 2 days, that's not a good sign. And we'll see about Matt Gonzalez and Braden Smith today. But again, can you disrupt the elite timing of Matthew Stafford? I think so much of the game just boils down to that. And, Stafford, if you watched that Eagles game last week, he had a few kind of un-Stafford-like moments. And, remember, he dealt with the back a little bit in August. Can you just force him into some stressful situations? And, to me, he's a future Hall of Famer. So that's a difficult thing to do. But that is the first storyline of, yes, offensively, Jeff, so much of it I think can look like the first couple of weeks with the balance, but the other side of the ball, your pass rush has got to be as potent as it's been all year long.
And James, we talked a lot yesterday about the line itself is 49.5, which is a fairly high line. You'll see some 50s every once in a while. So people are expecting a lot of scoring here. Based on what we've been talking about, it kind of feels to me as if the Colts are going to win this game, they've got to put a lot of points on the board.
Yeah, and they've been able to do that. But I also think, Jeff, how uncomfortable can you make the Rams, and can you get a couple breaks to go your way? Meaning, can you get a takeaway? Can you get, a kickoff return that flips the field for you? Because I do think, considering the red zone issues that this team has had, you want to be able to possibly, be better in the red zone, but also, have that big play ability a few times throughout the game. So I am curious about this matchup. I'm very intrigued about what this could say about this team if they go on the road and win. And knock off the Rams. I would say in convincing fashion, but honestly, if they just win it all, I think that is convincing for this group.
Well, and obviously in the secondary, there's a high likelihood that they're going to have someone that was just signed earlier this week play significant snaps. What do we know about that situation?
Yeah, Mike Hilton, we had a chance to talk to him earlier this week, and I want to say, Kevin, you might have had a chance to really dive into, like, hey, what kind of led you here? You and Lou Anarumo, do you expect to play? And it sounded like he was ready to strap it up and get out there, even though he hasn't played, I believe, this season. So that will be certainly an acclimation period. But at the same time, if you do believe that is your best option, then you got to roll with that.
Yeah, what's left in Mike Hilton's tank? We've seen Xavier,
31, I believe, years old.
Right. And again, unlike Xavier Howard, he did participate in training camp with a team. Now, granted, that team was the Dolphins. We saw how their secondary went, and the Dolphins cut him. So there's just a little bit of pause of like, okay, where exactly is he at? I get that Lou Anarumo has all this history with him, but still, the Xavier Howard experiment, I think, has been a little meh so far. And is this really the first week we see Mooney Ward shadow? That would be a question I would have. So much Puka Nacua talk. Is there any thought of, hey, let's have Travarius Ward shadow Devontae Adams and then kind of commit more multiple bodies to Puka Nacua? I think that is another storyline that you have. But one thing the Colts have done just absurdly well offensively this season is they have thrived in third and manageables. They've gotten themselves ahead of the chains. I think they're the best team in the league in averaging like 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, which you can live with that in a high success rate. Does that continue? Because I do think the Rams defense is a little underrated. I know it's not Donald, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey from the Super Bowl, but I do think they're a pretty solid unit, and calling last week a road environment would probably not be a fair statement. So this one probably a little bit more in the road atmosphere.
Yeah, and I like what you're talking about with manageable third downs, because as much as anything this week, it keeps that Rams offense off the field for a little while longer too, and that's going to be important.
Yeah, there are times when you face probably Tennessee or Miami, and it's like, oh yeah, that's a good thing when their offense is on the field. I don't think you feel that way about the Rams. And Kyron Williams, so many people play fantasy football. I think they are fully familiar with him. That's a damn good running back. The Rams have got tremendous balance, so I can't wait again for Sunday. I know I've been preaching that all week long, probably sound like a broken record, but to me, this is one of the more anticipated September games I can remember for this franchise, and just a really good test. And I think one of the better games. I know we'll do our entertaining games here of week 4. I think this is easily one of the best games of the entire week.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. You triggered me on something when you said sometimes you'd rather see like the offense on the field. we didn't really talk about it. But how about Mike Tomlin for the Steelers this week when talking about their matchup with the Browns and Joe Flacco, saying that when they played the Colts last year, he instructed his defense to make sure you don't take Anthony Richardson out of the game because I don't want to see Joe Flacco. What did you make of that statement?
He was speaking from the heart, I suppose, because they did take Anthony Richardson out of the game, I believe, after that first drive, and then Joe Flacco ended up helping them get the win. So that was an interesting shot, I guess, at AR, mainly because, one, we haven't really talked about Anthony Richardson a lot on these airwaves the last couple of weeks, and then on top of that, Mike Tomlin usually doesn't say anything. Like, I know that he gets a lot of stuff clipped up, and they'll replay it on ESPN or wherever. But for those who actually cover the team, they always tell me that he says a bunch of stuff that sounds cool, but there's no substance there. There was a little bit of substance there to how he kind of views Anthony Richardson.
Do you think he was just trying to pump up Joe Flacco in the lead up to this particular game, and that kind of just maybe came out a way he probably wish he could have had back, or do you think he
I don't think
cares?
Mike Tomlin really cares.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but it was not associated with Flacco at all, right? Wasn't it in reference to the Vikings?
Yeah, he was talking about having Wentz. You're right. It was about Wentz. You're right.
Because they play the Vikings in Dublin, don't
Yeah,
they?
the audio if you guys.
It was about J.J. McCarthy and Carson Wentz, not Joe Flacco. I think if you go back to the Colts game last year, for those that don't recall, it was actually a Week 4 game, I believe, against the Steelers. Steelers were undefeated. Richardson started the game, only played about a quarter or so, and actually Richardson played pretty well and then got hurt, and then Flacco came in the game. The Colts won the game, so yes.
Mark, can you play it just so we can
I think
hear
it was in reference to Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
and
you're
J.J.
right.
McCarthy.
You are correct. I'm looking at it again. So
in the short term that Carson is playing for him. We were in a similar situation a year ago. We were playing in Indianapolis, man, and I commented to the guys that, keep Richardson upright. Don't put Flacco in the game. And, Flacco ended up in the game.
There you go.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think both of you are kind of right.
No, Kevin was right. I didn't get the right context, but I got the right where we're heading with this.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Exactly.
But no, I just,
interesting comment.
You don't hear coaches say that all the time, and I just thought that
so
that was
in a month,
interesting.
is Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones going to get hurt? Anthony Richardson's going to come in and go double bird to Mike Tomlin?
That's the script now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Daniel Jones twists an ankle. He'll be fine for the rest of the season. But in that particular game, Anthony Richardson is like, okay, you don't want to see me? Here we go. I'm upright.
That would be something.
That's how it works. All right. We'll give you an update on all things that are happening, even right now. As we speak, Kevin is watching two screens, your computer and the big screen, for Bethpage Black and the Ryder Cup. I mean, you got it covered every which way, right?
Go, USA.
Are we back on the Bryson train yet?
I don't know.
I was gonna say he's getting the boarding pass ripped up as we speak.
I don't know. Bryson and I, it's a junior high relationship between Bryson and I right now.
He's got the cooties right now.
I love him in third period. I want to break up with him in sixth period.
Mark Dykton, we've got more coming up with Greg Rakestraw in a moment at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Happy Friday, an amazing weekend of sports straight ahead. And all of our sports reports this week brought to you by Bet365. When it comes to sportsbooks, Bet365 has it all. Download the app today and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 21 plus only, must be located in Indiana. And Kevin, you and I were watching a little bit of the Ryder Cup there during the break. We'll talk about that coming up in a minute. But, man, there's just so much talent out there. And when you think of talent, how do you not think of our next guest, right?
Oh, look at that transition.
Come on. I mean, he would
if Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy had a baby, he'd be Greg Rakestraw.
That's something like that. Greg Rakestraw, that is it right there.
It's quite the praise.
Some of you have seen me play golf, and trust me, it is nowhere near a Ryder Cup level. I'm actually going to be stunned if Kevin contributes much of anything for the next 2 hours of the program, is because he'll be staring at the television for probably the rest of the day.
Well, Rick, we will get to the 4 or 5 mile war. I forget what they used to call it back when I was in high school that you're calling tonight. But are you a Friday? Did I hear this correctly? Are you a every Friday morning tennis guy?
I am. So next thing I'll be doing after having this conversation is a little 9:30 couple of sets with my buddy Neil Smith.
Nice.
Now, tennis pickleball crowd, get along, don't get along, mix, low-key hate each other. How would you describe the tennis versus pickleball crowd?
We, as tennis originals, put up with the pickleball people because they rent court space, which keep the tennis clubs open, those that have pickleball lines. Problem with the pickleball lines is that it kind of changes sometimes how the ball will bounce or spin coming off of it because you're adding an extra kind of level of paint there on a court. The pickleball people tend not to know the tennis etiquette rules, so that's a bit of a problem. Generally, I don't like them, but I tolerate them. How's that?
Okay.
Sounds elitist to me.
Wow.
Noted.
Right. And you got the PG version of that.
Oh, okay.
The off-air version is probably going to be something a little bit different.
Hey, before we get into the weekend, I just want to let you know, we're talking about alternate realities. Across from me, Mark Dykton is rooting for the Cubs to lose. To the left of me, Kevin Bowen is rooting for Bryson DeChambeau, and to the right of me, James Boyd is wearing candy stripe pants. Welcome to my studio today.
Everything's a little bit off, it seems, in your world today, Jeff.
And I just found out that you have no love lost for pickleball players.
They're okay, I guess.
Ooh, all right. It sounds like, are you a pickleball player, Jeff?
I've played a couple of times. I like it, but not.
So we got some more beef brewing. You know me.
I like tennis. I played like Greg, though. Greg played college tennis. I played high school tennis. So
by the way, I ran into your son's coach at Brebeuf the other day. I did not realize that she and I were as good of friends as we were. I didn't put two and two together as to whom she was coaching.
Coach Marcy?
Absolutely.
Oh, she's tremendous. She's tremendous. All right, enough of our stuff. Big weekend, college football and also high school football. You've got your game tonight, but before we get there, thoughts on this run by Curt Cignetti, Indiana, and what they're doing, and are they a better team now than they were last year?
We're about to find out. Frankly, the litmus test is going to be Oregon, because Indiana last year beat everyone kind of south of them in the rankings. They were going to be a top 12 team, and their losses were to two teams that played for the national championship. And so, this coming up tomorrow is the next kind of box to check for this season. But how do you do against Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, who are kind of the elite of the league? Now, Penn State gets put up there because of their ranking and because of their name. If you look at actually what their record has been against other top teams, it's not been great. And so, Illinois was clearly a very vociferous statement for the program, but now it's about taking care of business at Iowa. Iowa's not a bad team, not a great team, but it's a tough place to play in Iowa City. Then you do that and you get a bye, and now you get that national stage type of game where you can frankly answer that question. Are they a better team this year than they were a year ago, and they stunned everybody by being a college playoff team?
So, right, to pivot to the high school scene, which is I feel like your other labor of love, where are you tonight, and what are some matchups we should be keeping an eye on?
All right, North Central and Carmel is my game this evening, and this is kind of a backyard brawl type of game, even if it has been rather one-sided over the last 20 years. In fact, since 2005, the only time that North Central has won was in 2019. That's when they kind of 19 and 20 were their best teams. Earlier this year, they snapped a 32-game losing streak. They have since won again. They're now 2-3. They've got some really talented young players on offense, primarily playing sophomores and juniors under first-year head coach Colin Kofer. Again, Carmel got good again quickly after they were down the last couple of years. Now they are a legitimate state championship contender at 4-1, only lost to Trinity out of Louisville a couple of weeks ago. This is probably going to be one-sided in favor of Carmel, but North Central is a program in which you can see development is taking place. And I think the last 3 games of the season, backing its MIC competition, North Central finishes with LC, Pike, and Ben Davis. I think they can be competitive in all 3 of those games and maybe even get 1 or 2. Probably going to be an uphill slog for the Panthers tonight.
You know, Fall was here when Greg Rakestraw was brushing up on his boys' soccer pairing show research earlier this week when I saw him at the Colts facility. Greg Rakestraw with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Rake, is Mr. Football the dude that runs all over everybody up there at Knox, or am I missing other candidates?
I think his numbers will be so astronomical in the fact that he is threatening a record that a lot of people thought was untouchable in Charlie Spiegel. I think he's got to be the heavy favorite. Now, obviously, he plays at a 3A school and not a 5A or a 6A school, but this is a very stat-driven award, and he's going to have the craziest stats of anybody in the state this year.
Miles McLaughlin, right? That's the name?
Correct.
That's a good name for a running back who's running for that amount of yards, Miles.
Right. He runs for Miles McLaughlin every game, absolutely.
And, and also to clarify, does he play quarterback or running back? I was watching some highlights.
I thought was like Tebow stuff.
Yeah, where it's like he runs, but
picture Riley Leonard on the opening drive of the national title last year, running power and lead. It's honestly very throwbacky.
That's kind of very similar to the role that Jack Kaiser had for Pioneer when he won it 7 years ago. So, yeah, that's pretty much, hey, get our best player the ball and let him go figure it out.
Hey, I respect it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Anything else we should know about Kevin? I'll ask you this. Kevin brought this up earlier. Is this the best weekend in sports with everything that's going on right now? Or, we kind of settled.
I don't know if I said that, just to be clear here.
But he settled on the Indy 500 weekend, and you do a little bit of everything. What's your favorite weekend? For the record, was I like divisional weekend of the NFL playoffs as much as I like the Indy 500. But where are you at?
Well, obviously the best local weekend is Indy 500 weekend, and that historically has been the best day in racing. Now F1 has gone and screwed that up by moving Monaco off of that date, because you had Monaco and then you had the 500 and then you had the Coca-Cola 600 down in Charlotte. And again, they're going to run a Canadian Grand Prix, and they've moved the time, but we're going into the weeds on that. I'm not sure if I've got a favorite weekend, Jeff. I celebrate the entire catalog, but typically, I think the best time in sports is about to happen, because once you get into October, now you've got still meaningful college football and pro football. You get playoff baseball, and you get the start of the NHL and NBA seasons. So as weekends go, this is pretty good. But I would say we are just kind of like, the foliage outside. It's starting to turn, not at its peak just yet.
I like it. Well said.
By the way, can I throw a couple of notes your guys' way? I know Matt still does like his facts and figures, right?
Yeah.
When he comes on at 9 o'clock. Something hit me as I was listening to the show. This is the Colts' first trip to play a game in SoFi, correct?
Ever?
I believe that is
yes.
correct. I believe Mike Merritt, the great Mike Merritt from the AP, said the Colts haven't won in LA since '87. Obviously, there's some reasons behind that.
It's been a minute. The last 2 times the Colts played the 2 teams they are playing, their next 2 road games are in the same venue. They were both season openers. The Rams in 2017, that did not go well. The Chargers in 2019, that went better. That was Jacoby Brissett.
Is that an overtime loss, Rick?
Yeah.
Correct. It was either overtime or right at the end of the game. Remember the pick that Malik Hooker had in that game?
Yeah.
The one-handed jump man pick in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
And, of course, the 2017 game against the Rams played at the Coliseum. Scott Tolzien was your starting quarterback in that game.
I hope you didn't steal some of Mate's little notes.
There's a
and
lot
nuggets
more
today,
picks
man.
to remember in that game, unfortunately, Rick.
Yeah, that
kind.
did not go well.
Yeah.
And frankly, the entire season did not go well, obviously.
I hadn't thought about that pick by Malik Hooker, but now it's all coming right
Still
back to my
playing
memory.
football in the
man.
league, right, for the Cowboys?
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Greg, you're the best. Appreciate you.
See you guys.
There he is, Greg Rakestraw on the Payless Liquors hotline.
James, I think I said to you at practice the other day, we were talking amongst ourselves some of the greater individual performances we've seen against the Colts over the years, and I think about the last Rams game with what Puka Nacua did as a rookie. That was still early Puka, and the game-winning touchdown in overtime.
9 for $163.
Yeah, he was so special in that game, and obviously that is a huge storyline. You've got the league's leading rusher in this game, Jonathan Taylor, and the league's leading receiver in Puka Nacua.
Yeah, I think Puka is going to be a problem, especially without Kenny Moore. He is a slot guy. They move him around a lot. Had a chance to catch up with my buddy Nate Atkins, who now covers the Rams, and he was saying that is something they're certainly going to try to exploit, with the idea that Travaris Ward will travel with Devontae Adams, which should be a nice game-within-the-game matchup.
Yeah, it's almost pick your poison with those two guys, and if you can find a way to shut down both of them, good luck, because the Rams might just try to shove it down your throat with Kyron Williams, too. I mean, that's a really potent offense, and they're all putting up some numbers right now, and it's going to be a test for the Colts defense. There's no question about it, and not only that, but it's going to be nicked up, and they haven't yet shown the propensity to really put pressure on the quarterback. Kevin, is there one guy on the edge on either side that we can say you feel like maybe he's close to breaking out?
Well, it's time for the LA guy, right? Latu. It's time for the pride of UCLA going back to that city for him to really, really step up. And I know Stafford gets the ball out very quickly, but you need more from your pass rush.
Absolutely.
I don't think Lou Anarumo would fully agree with that thought. I got the impression he's a little bit more content with what they've got so far. I would push back on that. I think you need more, and especially in a game where, you know, to James's point, your secondary's facing some question marks. Again, Kenny Moore, if you look at the games missed lately, I want to say it's 8 games he's missed over the last 3 seasons, 2022 to 2024. The Colts gave up or given up without Kenny 33 points per game in those contests. I mean, I'd venture to guess, I'd have to look up the opposite side of it. I'd venture to guess you're a 7 to 10 point better defense with Kenny Moore on the field versus off of it. Think about that one player having a 7 to 10 point difference in a game, and that one player doesn't play quarterback. That's rare air.
Yeah, I love that line. We were talking about defensive line earlier, too, from DeForest Buckner, where he says he feels like the protection call is always slide to 99.
Hey, you want to stay employed? You better do that. He's a very, very good player, and the numbers that he puts up as a defensive tackle would rival some really good defensive ends whose job it is to rush the passer a lot more than the interior guys. So we'll see how it all shakes out. I would say, just to, I guess, push back a little bit, Kevin, I think that Lou Anarumo has quite a bit of a poker face. I don't think that he's all that satisfied with their pass rush. I just don't think he can, like, publicly come out and, I guess, rag on his guys. I don't think that's really his style. So we'll see.
All right, we will talk more about that with Matt Taylor coming up top of the hour, and also start to take some of your comments throughout the rest of the hour, too, at 239-1070 on the fan text line. We haven't really gotten to a lot of those yet today because there's so much going on, but we will check that out again, 239-1070 on the fan text line. Other than that, let's check it down.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Man, do we have a lot to get to, including the Indiana Fever playing a playoff game tonight at home at the Fieldhouse, 7:30 p.m. tip, 7:15 airtime on the Fan pregame show with Eddie Garrison here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Will Lexi Hall play? Probably, but she did not practice yesterday. What do you think, James Wood?
From what I understand, I believe she did practice. She just wasn't available or doing much when the media walked in. So want to clarify there. But, yeah, I would expect her to be available tonight in a big, big game for this Fever team. I think whoever wins this game wins the series.
Series all tied up at 1. It's a pivotal game 3, as they used to like to say. NFL, we've been talking about the Colts at the Rams, 4:05 Sunday afternoon. Our coverage starts at 1 o'clock here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. We've been talking about the injuries, secondary, offensive line. What are we worried about the most, Kevin Bowen?
Yeah, one more thing on the Fever, too, just to remind everybody, when you say pivotal game 3, uber pivotal, best of 5 series.
Uber pivotal.
So when
Get a
James
t-shirt.
is saying, winner of tonight wins the series, I agree. Again, we only got 5 games, so view this as the game 5 of the best of 7 series when you look at it from that standpoint. Injury-wise, Kenny Moore hasn't practiced all week. Alec Pierce hasn't practiced all week, and neither has Matt Gonzalez, your starting right guard. So you could be looking at Dalton Tucker at right guard. It'd be the first offensive line change of the season here for the Colts. And then we'll see about Braden Smith. He was not on the injury report, and then yesterday he popped up as limited due to a heel injury. Sometimes that means alarm bells. Other times it means, hey, can a 30-year-old get a little bit of a rest period? So just something to monitor as the Colts will have their final practice of the week coming up here around lunchtime.
All right, college football this weekend. The Indiana Hoosiers on the road to take on Iowa. That's a 3:30 kick tomorrow afternoon. Notre Dame at noon will kick it off against Arkansas. Just curious, Mark, betting-wise, if you had to put those two together, how would you play it?
Oh, boy, you're putting me on the spot here.
Like you haven't looked at
I was like, you degenerate.
I know.
Who's memorized the money lines for this game.
I don't know.
I like them both to cover. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I need to look at all that. I haven't looked at the Arkansas one, to be quite honest.
I think that they are going to cover.
Mark?
I think
You aren't
Notre
paying
Dame.
attention to Notre Dame.
I know.
Arkansas?
Well, I was
What are
trying to
you
get out.
doing over
I
there?
was trying to get out on that
week
Ryder
long.
Cup bet you told me about, and they already took it down last night.
He's on his phone as we spoke. All right, so that's coming up tomorrow. Also, if you want to catch some football in town, 1 o'clock start. Butler Bowl, the Bulldogs homecoming against Marist, or as Mike Freeman from Butler texted us, the Fightin' Rick Smits, Kevin Bowen.
I love me some Butler Bowl action. Should be an awesome weekend over there for a weather standpoint from homecoming. So was at the homecoming game last year over there at the Butler Bowl. So yes, 1 o'clock Marist. Right now the Bulldogs 2-2 on the season here. And do we have a little ticket giveaway for that?
Mark, we doing there? We going there?
I don't know.
Oh,
clearly Mark's
Jeez, I'm about to say, man, does this
put me on
guy
the spot for
do
stuff that
any
I'm
work
unaware of.
around here?
Clearly
he's over
Mark's
there on his phone. I figured he was on
My
the betting
goodness.
lines.
overwhelmed. How about Fast Fingers? 317-239-1070. 4-pack to go see Butler homecoming tomorrow. 1 o'clock at the Selleck Bowl.
I don't know.
I have no text message.
This is
nothing.
payback for rooting for the Cubs to lose. That's what it is.
It's not rooting for the Cubs to lose. Again, it's rooting for the Reds to just do what the Reds do.
Well, the
And
Reds
fall flat
won
on their
last
faces.
night.
Again, I don't love that, but I respect it. That's proper fandom
All
by
right.
Mark Dykton, right?
Yeah, I
Part
mean,
of being a fan is hating your rival.
The Cubs are going to the playoffs as is, so it doesn't matter if they win or lose. But if it knocks the Reds out of the playoffs,
IU fans would do the same thing to Purdue. Purdue fans would do the same thing to IU. Mark, again, it doesn't help my situation, but I respect it.
I want the Reds to be Charlie Brown and the football to be the postseason for them. The football just gets taken away at the last second, and they just fall on their face.
That's sick, but damn, I do respect it.
Thrilling moment for the Reds last night, though. They were taking on the Pirates 2-1, had that 2-1 lead. Top of the ninth, there was one out, and it looked like Pittsburgh was going to tie this thing up. Mark Dykton, do we have that play? As Noelvi Marte used all we talked about it before the show.
He swings. High fly right field. Marte all the way back. Leaps at the wall. He caught it! He takes away a game-tying home run! The biggest play from Marte in the outfield! He saves the day!
I saw him after he caught the ball running to TJ Frito like, well, does he have it? Does he not? That is an outstanding play, getting to the wall, scaling and extending. Outstanding.
All right, so Kevin, I don't know. Some people have said this morning that was a season-ending play. Is it that dramatic? Because it felt like it last night.
Well, season saving, right?
Season saving.
Yeah, it was a hell of a catch. I mean, Marte had to go. I mean, that was full extension into the stands to bring it back there. And as much as that play was unbelievable, obviously the Mets then took care of business late last night. So to sum it up, 3-game series, Reds, Brewers, Excuse me, Reds, Brewers, Mets, Marlins, and the Reds need to have a better series than the Mets.
They are one game behind. They have the tiebreaker. So
you have to have a better series. Whether that is a sweep for you, 2-1 for them, however it is, you got to have a better series than the Mets here to end the season.
Yeah, Dodgers won the National League West last night, but they shut out the Diamondbacks 8-0. That helped the Reds because they had been tied with the Reds. Now they're a game behind.
From the
Cincinnati
YouTube chat?
well. Yep.
What happened to the real Mark Dykton?
Yeah, he's been on. I don't know what's going on today.
Good question.
I've been giving away tickets I was unaware we had. I've been asked to play sound when I'm on the phone.
You know what? About time you earned your keep around here.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Bethpage Black, home of the Ryder Cup this weekend up in New York. And right now, off to an early start, but I see the Euros are up with Hatton and Rahm, McIlroy and Fleetwood.
They're down. Rahm and Hatton are down.
They're down now.
Yes, that is the U.S. flag.
I'm looking. All right.
Oh, Mark's back.
Mine has
stick it all.
My scoreboard has not been updated yet, so I apologize for that.
John Rahm is in Heather, about as tall as James Boyd right now, and it looked like Bryson was bitching out
about
a
shot
something.
at you.
Well, I'm just trying to be.
Again,
Kevin, you know how quick this
Mark,
TV can go
and
off.
by the way, James, can you stand up for our YouTube audience that hasn't seen this just yet? The crispiness of the James Boyd apparel here on this Friday. He looks like A.J. Guyton coming out for a game in 1997. He's ready to play for the Hurricane Hoosiers. The candy stripes for James Boyd.
You see, Mark, why I'm a little thrown this morning with all this chaos around
There's
me.
a lot going
Hey, James,
on.
that purchase was yesterday?
Yes, this was yesterday, like right before the Dick's Sporting Goods closed in Avon. So when I walked in to get it, the lady looks at me, and I was like, I lost the bet, and I got to wear this to work tomorrow. She just laughed. So good times.
I love it. High school football later on tonight. Brownsburg plays at Westfield, Indian Creek at Tri-West. Plainfield, Decatur Central square off there. Decatur playing at home. Lebanon at Triton. Center Grove at Lawrence Central. Of those five, James Boyd, which one are you most interested in?
I was going to say it's a better question for Dominic Miranda. My high school knowledge is not as potent as others, so I would just say for those of you who want to get out there to some games, those are some ones you can go to.
I might travel up to see Brownsburg Westfield. That looks pretty inviting to me at Westfield. We'll see.
Shout out Circle City Classic this weekend. I know Antoine Bethea hopped on with John yesterday, one of my favorite Colts. I believe he is one of the speakers at the coaches' luncheon. You guys see this John Rahm, Heather? I mean, I wasn't kidding about this.
No, it's up. It's clearly up to his knees.
You can't even see his ball.
Yeah.
So that is, I believe it's Miles and Morgan State, I want to say, tomorrow at Lucas Oil Stadium. So, again, awesome weather, whether it's tonight and you're catching the Fever Watch Party in Bicentennial Unity Plaza before, or tomorrow, Butler Homecoming. What a shot by Rahm.
Out of the knee-deep heather to about 10 feet from the pin.
Gosh.
Can they play a little bit? Remember the old thing? These guys are good. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Gosh, I hate that shot.
Man, oh man. One NFL game last night, Thursday Night Football. The Seahawks got a walk-off field goal to beat the Cardinals on the road 23-20. This Sports Report is brought to you by Bet365. When it comes to sportsbooks, Bet365 has it all. Download the app today and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 21 plus only. Must be located in Indiana. Coming up in just a moment, we'll talk more about the Indianapolis Colts getting ready to take on the Los Angeles Rams this weekend as we continue 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
He looked thick.
Yeah, he's wiping the booty.
He might have another tub of balls.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Good morning. It's a Friday, and man, do we have a ton of things going on today. We could have kept going on and on and on. In fact, Indy 11 is going to be playing Saturday, 7 p.m. Tomorrow night against Tulsa FC. And if you want a family four-pack of that, we'll put Mark to the test again on the phones one more time, Mark.
Yeah.
You got nothing else going on?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Digging through the archives tonight. Find more dirt on you guys.
You can always tell when he's frustrated with us, Kevin, because he just brings all the old clips out.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of them.
You're telling me.
Yeah, Kevin's got like his own folder, I think, at this point.
You're telling me. I've certainly been a victim to that.
All right, Colts coming up on Sunday afternoon, of course. Our coverage starts at 1. Game kicks off at 4:05. But a big weekend in the National Football League as we go to Week 4. Mark Dykton, I believe we have some things to talk about this morning, do we not?
It is that time of the week where we go through our most exciting games and also the easiest and hardest games to select for the NFL Sunday week. You can go college as well. You want to go that way as well. We usually stick NFL, but you make it however you want. So we will start with the most exciting game, the game you are most looking forward to this weekend of a busy college sports weekend.
All right, who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
My most exciting game, and I will not choose a Colts matchup. For me, it's the Cowboys and the Packers. Micah Parsons returns to Jerry World down there in Arlington Heights, I believe. So that should be an interesting matchup. And
Which Arlington, not Arlington Heights.
I'm sorry, Arlington. Arlington, is that Illinois?
That's where the Bears are going.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Got confused there. But yeah, I think that'll be a fun
Mark
matchup.
would love for Micah Parsons to play
Yeah, I was
Arlington
going to say, that'd be a nice Bears pickup. But I think either way that game goes, we're going to get some funny sound bites from Jerry Jones or Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I'll go non-Colts Division 2 because I do think that's going to be the most exciting game of the week. But how about Ravens-Chiefs? Chiefs still have their backs against the wall a little bit. The Ravens coming off a tough loss. Who knows what's going to happen?
One of those teams is going to be 1-3.
Yeah,
I know. It's
that's
crazy.
wild. It's the usual playoff matchup, and the loser is going to be 1-3.
Oh, the Chiefs dead.
I think somebody brought this up the other day. I think it was Chris Canty who was talking about it on the show that comes on before us on ESPN. The fact that they've played so much football over the past 5-6 years that maybe it just catches up to you at some point in time. Added to the salary cap situation that gets worse and worse the more you win and win and win, and your better players either demand more money or go somewhere else. And he thinks maybe just all those things are happening this year.
We'll see.
Kevin?
I think both those are great choices. I do really like Colts Rams from an entertainment value, but I will say when we get the first international game of the year, I feel it's always a nice little dopamine hit on the old Sunday morning. It's like, oh yeah, here we go, 9:30 coffee viewing on this Sunday morning. The Ryder Cup doesn't get going until about noon on Sunday, so that will be a nice lead-in. And again, the Colts don't play at 1, but that'll be a nice little lead-in. It's Vikings-Steelers. I don't want to overreact to Carson Wentz versus Aaron Rodgers, but I like me some 9:30 football.
Highlight for me, we've got the Colts not until the 4 o'clock window. Also Chiefs-Ravens in the 4 o'clock window. The 1 o'clock window, the shining star, Eagles-Bucks, pair of undefeated teams going head-to-head in Tampa. Sign me up for that 7 days of the week. I'm very much looking forward to Eagles and Bucks in the 1 o'clock slate.
Kind of like that one. All right, what are we on to next, Mark Dykton?
The easiest game of the week, whether this is spread or whatever you want to go with it, college, NFL, or otherwise, the easiest game for the week that you would put money on and yep, that's cashing.
I think I'm going to go Eagles over the Bucks, Mark, to play off that a little bit. I think the Bucks are a little banged up.
No Mike Evans.
Right, Mike Evans. A little offensive line. We'll see about Tristan Wirfs getting back, but still a couple offensive line injuries there. And I just think, the Eagles have won, 19 of 20. I want to say it's 3.5. So, yeah, maybe 2.5 would make me feel a little bit better, but I will go with the Sirianni Eagles.
All right, James Boyd.
I'd probably lean towards the Ravens. They're 2.5-point favorites going into this Chiefs game. I'll trust their offense more. Their defense is an issue. It's been an issue for a couple years now, quite honestly. But I think that they're going to put up enough points to put the Chiefs away, put them down to 1-3 in the season.
Mahomes at home with points, and James Boyd's going against him. And, that's not that crazy of a thought.
I know.
That's the reality of where the Chiefs are at right now.
I'm going to go bold, Mark. You ready for this?
Yes.
Now, on the surface, you're gonna think like I'm copping out when I take the Bills over the Saints, but I'm going with the points here. How about this? 15.5-point favorites, and I still like the Bills at home to win about 37-13 over this horrible Saints team.
They are not good.
I know it's a 15.5-point spread, and that's crazy for the NFL, but it should probably be one of those college football spreads, Kevin. It's like 22.5. That's where I'm going there.
My easiest is the Packers -6.5 against the Cowboys. Not only is Micah Parsons returning to Dallas, so you've got that already. You know he wants to just lay it on Jerry. But the Packers are coming off a horrific loss to the Cleveland Browns. You know they're pissed off. They're going to take it out on the Cowboys, who are a pathetic team. CeeDee Lamb is already out for the game for God knows how long. They are going to destroy the Cowboys. And again, if they don't, biggest choke job in the NFL.
Mark has all this emotional hedging with his bets.
I'm just saying, they should dominate them.
I am actually going to go with Jeff's game for my hardest one to pick.
That's actually mine, too.
15.5, I just think is such a ridiculous number. Like 3 scores in an NFL game. I mean, at one point, don't the Bills just throw up the white flag? And then all of a sudden, Tyler Shuck gets in the game and leads a 70-yard touchdown to turn a 21-point deficit into a 14-point deficit.
That's what I'm thinking, too. I don't know how long Josh Allen and the starters are going to play in this game. They might be out by halftime.
They might be up 31-3 by the half.
So that one, I want no part of.
No. It was 16.5 yesterday. It's dipped to 15.5, but still, the Bills stink. The Bills are Super Bowl contenders. The Saints stink. But still, 15.5 points in the NFL is insane. Again, I don't know how long these starters are playing. So there's going to be some garbage time scores, I feel like, that is going to make that game closer than 15.5. I wouldn't touch it at all.
All right. Maybe I'll have to have a little chat with you after the show, Mark.
Unless you're willing to deposit some money in my account, go right ahead.
No, you and I. You like that. So, James Boyd, what do you got?
I'm looking at hardest, my toughest game. Probably, I might go Commanders-Falcons. Like, I don't know, is Jaden Daniels going to be available this week?
Yeah.
So,
He has practice, right?
Okay, so if he's practiced, then I'll probably...
No, I was asking that. He has?
I don't know.
Oh, here's my hardest game. Honestly, it'd probably be Panthers-Patriots. You got 5.5-point favorites for the Patriots. I don't trust that. Like, I
think Colts-Rams a hard game.
Yeah.
You think so?
I mean, anytime you get 3.5, I think those are difficult. Because the 27-24 games, the 2017 games, the 23-20 games. I mean, those games can just, that can totally change it.
Also, I don't know why. I guess I can't go back and. The easiest game of the week that we all kind of missed was Chargers-Giants.
I was looking at that.
That should have been my pick, not Chiefs.
10 a.m. local time.
Dude, Jackson Dart, I don't trust it at all.
Rookie magic for a game.
Man, ain't no rookie magic in New York. They keep turning to other rookies.
When does weird happen in the NFL?
Not this week.
When does weird happen?
Not this week.
By the way, Jaden Daniels has been limited the last 2 days for Commanders practice for those curious. So, not sure there. And then also the Falcons just got embarrassed by the Panthers, and we got to see how that big firing works out for the Panthers or the Falcons when they fired their wide receivers coach to blame him for the 30-0.
Turn everything around.
We'll be inspired.
Yeah. Mark, the one game I'm staying away from, I would think that the Bears would roll over the Las Vegas Raiders, but they're playing on the road. They're traveling out west, and I can't quite figure out either of these two teams yet.
Bears have good vibes going, heading out to Vegas. You were going into the bye week right after this game, so maybe, get a win and get to hang out the roulette table a little longer. Ben Johnson's going to be like, go ahead, boys, let loose a little bit. So take care of the Raiders, please.
Part of me feels like the Bears should roll, but
they should roll.
I don't get a good feeling here. I don't know.
Ashton Genty has not been very good at all so far. Geno Smith has not been great, but Pete Carroll, he's been doing it for a long time for a reason. He's very, very good. So I'm a bit nervous about that game, but I would also we get out a win. You're heading into the bye week 2-2, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
We can't make a freaking putt. Just the same old bleep. We can't make a putt. And the Euros make everything that they look at.
Are you enjoying the emotional roller coaster ride that these two are on today?
Yes, because that was me last Saturday. So I should probably still cheer for my country, though. So I can't be totally against them.
All right.
We started out so well with that Bryson just piss missile that he launched on the first hole. Now he hasn't done anything.
Downhill since, Mark.
Horrible.
Kevin actually sounds legitimately sad. Brother, it ain't over yet.
I need some water.
We're just starting. We'll give you a score update on the Ryder Cup. We'll talk about that Fever playoff game. Colts, of course, coming up on Sunday afternoon, and a big weekend of college football as well. Still a lot to do here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Monitoring Kevin Bowen's blood pressure this morning as he pays attention to the Ryder Cup out at Bethpage Black in New York.
We stink.
Tough putt from Justin Thomas just a moment ago.
Tough putt. That's the most politically correct thing I've ever heard in my life. That was a horrific effort by Justin Thomas. Sound like his father watching him.
Lipped out, and now they are all square in their match, correct?
Shout out to a listener yesterday. Post-show reached out to me and said, Kevin, not a big Colts fan, but I wanted to share this story. This listener said he was in his neighborhood. This, I guess, would have been Wednesday night. Said sun was kind of setting, and all of a sudden he looks down the street and he notices someone catching footballs in their driveway. And he's like, what in the world is going on down there? And so he makes his way down there, and sure enough, he sees a jugs machine, 2 women in the driveway, a young girl in the driveway as well, and one Cam Bynum hauling in jugs machine balls, I guess, from his wife. I think his sister-in-law was also in the driveway around 8 o'clock at night. Said Cam Bynum could not have been nicer or friendlier. And again, this guy's not a diehard Colts fan by any means. He said he walked away from that and said, you know what? I'm buying myself a Cam Bynum jersey.
Go get it.
Shout out to Cam Bynum. I think, James, when the Colts signed him, we were at that opening press conference. The next morning I said, that dude has a joyous spirit to him. And I think we've seen it play out, obviously, here early in the season. And I think he is quickly becoming a major fan favorite.
Rightfully so. I think that he is one of the more fun players and keeps a great perspective on the game and life in general. You talk to him for more than a couple minutes and you kind of see how he's wired and you realize why he approaches each day like that. Very big in his faith, very big in his family. And also what I enjoy about it is he kind of reminds you that it is a game. Like, you get that it's a job, very important job, but in the grand scheme of things, you're playing a kid's game and getting paid a lot of money for it. So I don't think he's lost sight of that at all. And he's off to a great start this season.
And for those that have not followed the Cam Bynum story, I know we shared this maybe in the spring a little bit more, but he's half Filipino, spends his off seasons in the Philippines, and he
lives there.
Has talked about, he is spearheading and really helping their Olympic committee get a flag football team ready to compete in the Olympics upcoming here in a few years. So just a great story. We have tried to get him on the show. It doesn't sound like he's maybe the most morningest person, but I believe
that's because he's on the jugs machine at night.
That's right.
I believe he's hopped on with John, and again, I just think James, I thought, put it pretty well. It's a guy that has an awesome, joyous, genuine spirit to him, but also has got a hell of a work ethic. I know Brian Flores always spoke really highly of him in his time in Minnesota. And he has made a early impact, and boy, is he going to be needed for a play or two coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a fan favorite in my house already because my wife's parents were born in the Philippines, and so I've got 2 half Filipino boys, and they're like, really? When I told them that story, like, really?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they're like, oh, that's cool. That might be my favorite Colts player right there. So it's a lot of fun, but just to your bigger point, the way he approaches the game and who he is a really easy person to like and root for. And hope that he has success. Checking out the fan text line this morning has been busy, 239-1070. We haven't had a lot of opportunities to get to it, but Kevin Ryan says the American team is filled with a lot of unlikable guys, not the easiest U.S. Ryder Cup team to root for.
Okay. I get it. The American flag's on their chest. Just root for them. Just okay. I'm not asking you to go hang out with Patrick Cantlay and Bryson DeChambeau. I'm asking you to cheer for the red, white, and blue. Let's not act like Terrell Hatton's the easiest dude to root for.
The commish is mad at me. Fellas, I know we're concentrated on the National League during your show, but at least mention the 2 American League division races that are tied going into the weekend. Yankees, Blue Jays, and Tigers, Guardians are both tied with 3 games to go. I believe we talked about Tigers, Guardians a couple of times this week, have we not? About the big lead being blown?
That's the huge collapse, right?
Yeah.
By the fight in Michael Grady's?
Yeah.
Where does that stand right now?
Guardians are up right now.
Guardians are
up?
Well,
no, they were. They lost. Now, last night, they're tied again with 3 games to go.
And the Tigers are the one that have had this epic collapse?
Yep. 12 and a half games in about a month's time. How about that for craziness right there? So there you go, Commish. You got that. Go Reds, by the way. What else do we have going on?
Don't go red. That is not a show. That is not a show statement. I would like to distance myself from that. No, go Reds here.
Go Reds.
Go to hell. Don't go to the playoffs.
And again, Jeff's Reds fandom, to be clear here.
It's the first.
It's a little Illinois football from James Boyd.
No,
I'm an honest person, though. Very honest.
I play along with the bit, and this is what I get. Thank you very much. It goes. I see the look you're giving me right there.
Ain't no bid on my side.
All right.
I told you I couldn't name any Illinois players.
James Boyd, better chance A.D. Mitchell or Tyler Warren catches a touchdown this weekend.
Tyler Warren? That's not even a
What do I
hard
need, Mark?
question.
About 12 catches to stay on pace for A.D. Mitchell?
12? I'd have to do the math there, but you need 76 in the span of what? 14 games left?
This could be a huge week for him.
I do think that they could go his way a lot.
I mean,
this
if
week.
Alec Pierce is out, then A.D. Mitchell could be looking at a big ol' snap count. A.D. Mitchell might play more snaps than Tyler Warren on Sunday.
What would you think, though, honestly? 4 or 5 targets for A.D. Mitchell, something like that? Game flow probably dictates everything.
Again, if you look at his target rate when he's on the field, I believe it's the highest of any Colt player. Certainly any Colt wideout.
In terms of percentages to when he's on the field, right?
Right. So if you look at his snaps and how many times he's targeted, his ratio is better than Michael Pittman Jr., better than Josh Downs, better than Alec Pierce. So does that continue if that role expands?
Needs to have about 6 catches a game. Not impossible.
Let's get
Not
rolling
probable.
this week. Let's get rolling this week.
Not probable is certainly a way to put it.
Greg P. I just feel like you don't like me today, James Boyd.
Who said this?
Me. I'm just feeling that way.
What happened?
I just feel like maybe you don't like me today. I don't know.
Look at
I
that.
swear the Europeans make everything.
I actually don't know what happened.
I'm hating on his A.D. Mitchell catches.
That's what's going on there. How about this, though? Greg P. says Greg Rakestraw, certified pickleball hater.
He was.
He was.
Which, I haven't played pickleball, so I feel like am I the only guy in America who hasn't played pickleball?
No, I've never played it. Never played it either.
Yeah. I'll get there
You
someday.
ever played tennis?
I
A
tried
couple
tennis,
times
and I've
here, though.
stunk. Oh,
Yeah, I'm
just
like,
terrible.
Okay.
All right. Anonymous texter says, I got an A.D. Mitchell anytime touchdown at plus 1,800 a couple of days ago. Even if Pierce plays, that number's too enticing to pass on.
Damn, those are great odds.
Man.
$10 to win 180?
I'll take that.
Yes.
Too late now, though.
1,000% take those odds.
Too late now. The game's not till Sunday.
Those are unbelievable odds. Wow.
What do you mean too late now? You can throw some shekels on that.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll be plus 1,800
I'll look
anymore,
right
will it?
now.
All right. Find that for me. I like that. Also, another anonymous texter says Tomlin's Anthony Richardson comment makes me wonder if he's a little butthurt because either the Colts or AR turned down a trade request to back Rodgers and take the reins next year. I don't know if that. I haven't heard anything about that. Have you, Kevin?
I've not. Again, I would not expect Anthony Richardson. I don't think the Colts would have flirted any sort of trade with Richardson, and I wouldn't expect that to happen until after the season. What are we, probably a month away from the trade deadline? I feel like it's usually right around Halloween, just before it. So, yeah, I assume Anthony Richardson is on this team the rest of the season.
Anytime touchdown score for A.D. Mitchell is plus 480. If you want to make a... You
a lot different than plus 1,800.
Yeah, so the money's where if you go first or last, it's at plus
I feel like I have
2,500
to at this point, don't I? Don't I?
Yeah, you have to
put a
You
little
So
bit
again,
down
plus
on that.
President of the fan
480
club.
for those not following the betting lingo. That is $10 to win $48 if you think A.D. Mitchell will score his first NFL touchdown.
All right. For the fourth consecutive week, Caleb, any listener, but Caleb says you and Dominic Miranda voices are indistinguishable. So keep listening for that one. Every week we get comments.
Twinning.
All right, we got Maytay coming up in just a moment. Talk about the Colts trip out west. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Get you bouncing early on a Friday morning. I guess it's not so early anymore. 9 o'clock. Welcome to the show. If you're just joining us, thank you for being here. However you're listening to us on the air, online, whatever it happens to be. You came at the right time, though, because we are here to talk to one of our favorite people and our favorite time of the week. Matt Taylor stops by to talk about the Colts game on Sunday against the Rams. He joins us on the Payless Liquors hotline. Happy Friday, Matt Taylor. How you doing this morning?
I'm great. You're all too kind. How are you guys today?
We are fired up. It's a great weekend, and we were talking about this game. This might be the most interesting, exciting game of the week, even if you're a non-Colts fan.
I think so, too. It's got some juice about it, right? I mean, the Rams are 2-1, but they really should be 3-0 if they don't have a couple of field goals blocked. And, they went ice cold there in the second half of their game against the Eagles last week. They're up 19 points against the defending champs on the road. They don't score a single point in the last 29 minutes of that game. And then, of course, they got the field goal blocked and then the icing on the cake with the 61-yard return off of the block. So it's a really good football team, and I think you got two really good football teams, on the big stage, if you will, late afternoon game. I think it's a Fox game, if I'm not mistaken. But at any rate, this is a chance for the Colts to go out west and validate, a 3-0 start. There's still some doubters out there, still some skeptics about, all right, you're 3-0, but you beat the Titans, you beat the Dolphins. I mean, I don't care. These are NFL teams, and you're dismantling them. But there's still some people out there saying, I want to see you do it against a good team on the road, and that's exactly the opportunity the Colts have coming up on Sunday.
Always great to hear the voice of Matt Taylor. Again, he will be on the call coming up. Charles Arbuckle and him, as he said, 4 o'clock. On Sunday. Mayte, before we get into Taylor's tidbits, you are a numbers guy. Of all the astonishing offensive numbers, team play, I was astonished earlier this week when the Colts were like, yeah, Jonathan Taylor is the first player in team history to win back-to-back AFC Player of the Week. So I'm like, wait, what? In the illustrious history of the Colts? Taylor's the first of all of them. Individual team. What's the most astonishing number you've come across through 3 weeks?
Yeah, the one that just you're right. I mean, I do appreciate context of what the numbers say. Sometimes they lie, sometimes they don't, and I like figuring out what's the truth. But this is the one that just floors me. And the no turnover thing is one thing, but it's just being able to execute. This level of execution that we're seeing in a 3-week stretch. I've said this before. It's one thing to do this over the course of 3 weeks in a season, but to do it in the first 3 weeks of a season, right out of the gate, when you're trying to fill yourself out, sometimes training camp can be a little bit rocky because you have injuries. And then as the case with the Colts, you got a new quarterback for the umpteenth straight year. But to be able to do this with all of those variables and to perform at this high of a level right out of the gate, it's astonishing and it's historic. And this is the number that just floors me, just with the execution in mind. The Colts have scored on a whopping 77% of their offensive possessions so far this year, right? I know about the no turnovers and I know about the one punt, but they've scored 77% of the time they've had the ball. That is the most of any team in the NFL after 3 games in 45 years. And they're doing it with a quarterback that's been here since March. I mean, it's just crazy. So, we spent, about 20 minutes on the show on Monday night with Rick and Joe, and we took just a dedicated amount of time to step back and just appreciate and not take for granted what you're seeing, because, I don't know if it's sustainable for the entire year. I mean, I know there's going to be some speed bumps. It's the NFL, like parity is king. There's going to be some rocky times, which makes you really have to step back and really revere what you're watching from Daniel Jones and this Colts offense to start the year.
All right, Mark Dighton, off of that great note, let's go ahead with some Taylor's tidbits.
Let's dive into the nitty-gritty.
I never knew that.
Grab a seat and take notes.
As if.
There's storylines all over the upcoming game.
You serious, Clark? Say what?
It's time for Taylor's Tidbits.
Look at that.
New and improved.
Man, that sounded like an intro to the Plinko game on Price is Right. Matt Taylor, how about that?
We whipped it up. We had an idea in the brain this morning, and we whipped it up.
Okay.
Don't leave it to me. If it's up there, execution will be had, all right? So I'm going to go rapid fire here. We already talked about the execution on offense. Let's talk about this good start here, but try not to be satisfied if you're the Colts, because they're 3-0 for the first time in 16 years. Their 3-0 start also means they are the sixth team since divisional realignment in 2002 to begin 3-0 and score at least 28 points in each game to begin a season after missing the playoffs the year before. All right, so this also means the Colts have created some wiggle room for themselves. 86% of the teams that have started 3-0 since the NFL expanded their playoff model in 2020 have gone on to make the postseason. This is the seventh time in the Indianapolis era for the Colts they have started 3-0. And the previous six, they are 6 for 6 in making the playoffs. So they got off to a great start, but the Colts, they have all that information, but they have to put it on the back burner and continue to play like what got them to 3-0. And it's hard to do as a player, but you have to compartmentalize and keep that edge and keep the grind going. We talked about the offensive machines for the Colts, all right? They produced 19 straight offensive drives to start the season without a punt. That is the second longest streak in team history and the most for the Colts since 2005. And according to the Elias Sports Bureau, the Colts' lone punt through 3 games this season, that is the fewest since the start of the 1940 season around the NFL. The only clubs to start 3-0 and punt fewer than 5 times while doing so are the 2025 Colts and the 2007 New England Patriots. The Colts also became the only team since at least 1939 with 0 turnovers and 1 or fewer punts in a 3-game stretch. And I also heard you guys talking earlier about the Jonathan Taylor dominance, the second half production. All right, in the last 2 games, Jonathan Taylor, he's racked up 203 rushing yards past halftime. 65% of his rushing total on the season has come in the second half of games, including 2 big runs. He had a 68-yarder and a 46-yarder, but both of those have come past the locker room break. In the second half of games, Taylor is averaging over 8 yards per carry, which is 5 yards more per carry than his output in the first half of games on the season. So there you go. So I want to talk about now the Rams on defense. All right, they're 2-1, but again, you could argue they should be 3-0. They are a very aggressive defense. They are also a pretty complete team. They're the only team so far this year to rank top 5 in total offense and also total defense. And on defense, they rely heavily on blitzing to generate pressure. When they blitz, they generate pressure about 65% of the time. When they don't blitz and they just sit back and, rush 4 and play defense, they only put pressure on the quarterback 36% of the time. That's why you see him blitz. That's why you see him go crazy. That's helped them produce the 3rd highest sack rate on defense to this point of the season. They are tied for the league lead in sacks with 12, and they have 8 different players with at least 1 sack. That is tied for the most in the NFL so far this season. And the last nugget here, the last Taylor tidbit, I want to talk about Matthew Stafford. He's a Hall of Famer. He's 37 years old. He's been playing for 17 years. He ranks top 10 all time in all the different passing measurables, passing yards and completions and passing touchdowns. Last week against the Eagles, he reached 100 passing touchdowns just with the Rams, becoming the 4th player in NFL history with 15,000-plus passing yards and 100-plus passing touchdowns with multiple teams. The only other players to do that, Peyton Manning, of course, Carson Palmer, and Jared Goff. And he's also had pretty good numbers against the Colts. He's averaging over 317 passing yards per game against the Colts in his career, which, by the way, is the most by any player against the Colts all time. He's 2-0 lifetime in head-to-head matchups against Daniel Jones. But here's the caveat. He's had a little bit of a mixed bag against Lou Anarumo. In 2 meetings against the Bengals, when Lou Anarumo was the defensive coordinator, including the Super Bowl, Stafford has completed 60% of his passes over 550 yards. He's thrown 4 touchdowns, but he's also thrown 4 picks, 2 in each game, and he's also been sacked 8 times. So no Kenny Moore on Sunday. Not sure about the rest of the defense. We'll keep an eye on DeForest Buckner in that back. But without Kenny Moore, the Colts are going to have to find a way to at least create a little bit of a shadow of a doubt pre-snap at the line of scrimmage to create some confusion on a guy like Matthew Stafford that has obviously accomplished so much. But, next man up, and that nickel loss for the Colts with Kenny Moore is a big one. We're going to find out how they can, make up for that loss in the confusing department pre-snap for Matthew Stafford at the line of scrimmage.
So, Mate, that was a lot of information there. Great as always, but I do have one question for you. When you were rattling off all those Jonathan Taylor numbers and how great he's been, when you see him at the facility, do you just walk down the hallway and go, "What up, cousin?" because of the same last name, or how does that go?
Yeah, baby. Yeah, we are brothers from another mother, as they say, Jonathan Taylor and I. And, it is so good to see him so honed in and, everybody talking about, he looks like the 2021 version of Jonathan Taylor. Well, this dude might be better because if you look at his numbers and extrapolate them out, right, leads the NFL in rushing yards, 338 yards so far on the ground through 3 games. If you do the math, he's on pace for a better year this year than in 2021 when he led the NFL in rushing with over 1,800 yards. So, yeah, my cuz, he's on fire right now. And I keep trying to convince myself that taking carries away from Jonathan Taylor early on in the season is a good thing for the betterment of the team and for the betterment of him later in the year. But, it's hard to argue when he's ripping off big runs and turning 5-yard gains on an ISO like it's CY football, St. Jude versus St. Barnabas in the backyard back in the day, ripping that for 46 yards out. It's hard to argue taking carries away from a guy who's so efficient and so explosive.
Mate, always great to hear your little tidbits there. Can't wait to hear your voice on the call on Sunday afternoon. And I'm excited. I think this is going to be just a really entertaining game to watch. I really do.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited for the trip, going out to L.A. Colts haven't played out there, by the way, since 2017. Haven't won a game. The Colts have not won a game in L.A., the City of Angels, La La Land, since 1986. Rick Venturi was coaching linebackers back then for the Colts. They beat the then L.A. Raiders on the last game of the regular season in 1986.
Dwayne Bickett with a big game or something like that.
Yeah, you know it, baby. So, yeah, looking forward for SoFi Stadium, the Oculus, as they say, the Ring Jumbotron. I'm excited to it's the biggest NFL stadium that the league offers. 70,000 Los Angeles going crazy on Sunday.
I did not know that was the biggest stadium in the league.
Yep. Capacity-wise, it's the biggest stadium, and they're getting ready for the 2028 Summer Olympics. They have already hosted, I believe, some FIFA World Cup games there, and it's like Jerry World, but it's newer than Jerry World. So I'm excited to see what it's all about.
Have fun. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. All right, be good.
There
Safe travels, Matt.
The voice of the Indianapolis Colts, Matt Taylor, with amazing tidbits again.
Yeah, I feel like he just goes down a rabbit hole and finds stuff, and particularly when it comes to this season, that really quantifies and kind of magnifies how crazy of a start this has been, not just undefeated, but in this fashion. We are seeing an offense, quite frankly, that has been more high-powered than the offenses of Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning, and those 2 guys are pretty good.
I think the other thing that he said that we all know, but it stuck out to me again, being reminded of it, he's doing with a quarterback that signed in March.
Yeah, and again, didn't start taking full reps with the starting unit until what? Mid-August. You think about the quarterback battle. Yeah, I mean, he mentioned the 77% number of scoring drives. It's absurd. I said this earlier in the show, but I don't know how much it resonates. The Colts do lead the league in distance to go on third down. It's like 3rd and 4.8 or something like that. And I mean, when you think about it, just think about your emotions when you're watching your favorite football team. When you see 3rd and 9 versus 3rd and 3. Like, I'm just trying to picture myself like watching a Notre Dame game tomorrow and being like, oh, wow, it's 3rd and 3. Well, we might run it with Jeremiah Love. We might, CJ Carr could throw it here. Versus 3rd and 9, you're like, is the offensive line going to hold up here?
Yeah.
Is this going to be a strip sack? Those sorts of things that kind of go through your head and just how much more open the playbook is. So the Colts have stayed ahead of the chains so well. And I know we're in the heat of baseball season here, game 159 or whatever, game 160. They have been singles, doubles, moving runners over, putting balls in play. They've just been methodical. And when they need to try and take a home run shot, they do. Now, again, without Alec Pierce, how exactly do you hit the home runs? It does the A.D. Mitchell defensive pass interference play we saw last week. Is that still there for you? How much are the Rams going to respect A.D. Mitchell and the ability to try and go down the field? I think that's a sneaky storyline for Sunday.
Yeah, and again, the worry for me, and I like that because I think you need to keep the ball to keep that offense off the field for the Rams because with what we've seen from the pass rush so far and being as banged up as they are in the secondary, I'm a little nervous about this one, Kevin. I'm a lot nervous about it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think there are plenty of reasons. It's easily the best test that you've gotten.
All right, let's check it down, Mark, and talk about all the things that are going on in the world of sports, or at least as much as we can get to. Right?
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Well, let's stay with the Colts. They do play Sunday afternoon, 4:05 against the Rams. Injury situation as we head into the final day of practice this week today, James.
Yeah, a couple people to keep an eye on for sure. I would venture to say Kenny Moore II and Alec Pierce will be out for Sunday's game. However, right guard Matt Gonzalez also hasn't practiced this week due to a toe injury, so we'll see if he's out there today. And then we saw some backsliding a little bit on the injury report with Braden Smith popping up with a heel injury. I believe he was limited yesterday. So those are the things to keep in mind for sure. And I would venture to say if Kenny Moore in particular isn't out there, could we see Mike Hilton sign this week, go out there and play some meaningful snaps on Sunday?
All right, and that'll be 4:05 Sunday afternoon. Last night, the Seattle Seahawks got a walk-off field goal to beat the Arizona Cardinals 20-20. It was a wild game, Kevin. It was a 2-touchdown lead for the Seahawks in the fourth quarter. Then Kyler Murray brings the Cardinals storming back. They tie it up with less than a minute to go on a beautiful touchdown pass and even a better catch by Marvin Harrison Jr. And then they had a problem on the kickoff, and it allowed the Seahawks to start at their own 40 promptly. A quick pass to Jackson Smith and Jigba by Sam Darnold. The next thing you know, 52-yard game-winning field goal. That was crazy the last couple of minutes of that football game.
Yeah, I thought the game was kind of a lull until really the final 5 minutes or so. But yeah, like you said, wild sequence. And with the new kickoff rule, not only are we getting more kick returns, but there are severe penalties, frankly, if you don't get it in the landing zone. We saw the Colts got whistled for one of these penalties. I want to say it was the Denver game, the start of the second half against Denver. Spencer Schrader didn't get it in the landing zone. Boom, you start a drive at the 40. So that's what happened last night there. So just some things to keep in mind. When these one-possession games do arise, especially late, you can kind of get quick swings here. So definitely an entertaining finish to Thursday night. And Jason Hammer, 3-1 now on the team bets.
Bouncing back after a rough week last week.
He got accosted by Kevin when he walked in the studio.
Again, I hold him to a Tiger 2000 standards, and I just want to make sure that I know there's a lot in there, and I want to make sure he gets back to that level.
It's like a crime boss assaulting him the other day. You better get it back on track, buddy.
You guys want to win or lose? You guys want to win, don't you?
Later on tonight, the Indiana Fever hosting the Las Vegas Aces. You termed it an uber pivotal game. Best of 5 series. They're tied at 1, playing at home. You've stolen home court advantage. It's as big as it gets for the Fever right now.
Indeed. Should be an awesome night inside of Gamebridge Fieldhouse. Bicentennial Unity Plaza, I know, will have some pregame festivities for those venturing over there to the game. The Aces are favored. I think 4.5 last I saw. And I said this throughout the Pacers playoff series. I think it applies here. Do the others travel, and can your others step up in the home building? I think the Fever needs somebody else to kind of emerge there. And then for the Aces, I thought their guards were excellent in Game 2. Does that apply here on the road? So, again, tonight, 7:30, Sunday afternoon, Game 4. Remember, just a 5-game series here in the semifinal round.
And Team President Kelly Krauskopf joining us in about 10 minutes.
Good job. Also, tomorrow, Circle City Classic will be over at Lucas Oil Stadium. Then there's a free-to-the-public pep rally on the North Plaza on South Street today, getting ready for Miles College and Morgan State, but that's always fun, the Circle City.
Yeah, shout out to Antoine Bethea, the pride of Howard. He, I know, has been making the rounds around downtown. Was on with John yesterday, and he's been part of their coaches' luncheon. I believe they had yesterday, or maybe actually, I think it might be later today. Now that I think about the schedule, it's always a great event, and the weather looks awesome downtown. I remember Reggie Wayne getting honored there a few years back at the convention center. So should be an excellent weekend, whether you're doing that, whether you're doing, again, Bicentennial Unity Plaza, Friday night high school football, Butler homecoming against Marist. Looks to be a great Saturday.
And you can go high school football tonight. A lot of great matchups around the area. Brownsburg at Westfield, Indian Creek at Tri-West, Plainfield at Decatur Central, Lebanon plays at Triton, Center Grove at Lawrence Central. That's just to name a few. I could go on and on and on, but it's going to be a tremendous night. Whoever your fandom or wherever your fandom takes you tonight, it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had Dominic Miranda on earlier, Cascade, where he was, Greg Rakeshaw on earlier, Carmel and North Central there. The battle for Keystone, the battle for 31.
I like it. Also, college football tomorrow, Indiana on the road at Iowa. And, of course, Arkansas will be hosting the Golden Domers, Notre Dame. I know you're all fired. Your emotions this week between getting ready for that game and watching the Ryder Cup right now. You going to be all right? Everything okay?
I hope, but, yeah. Called being a fan.
Here's what I know right now.
It's on the ledge in the first 2.5 hours of this.
I was going to say, you're riding the wave.
What do you mean? I mean, sorry, you guys aren't supporting the United States of America
but
Ryder
it's been
Cup
a rough start.
You three are sitting on your hands over there.
It's been a rough start.
I was going to say, do you want me to play?
It's literally pathetic, the lack of emotion you three have had. Might as well send you to the library.
Well, here you go. Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood are 5 up already through 8.
Don't remind me. I've been watching
English
it for the last 2 hours.
Fitzpatrick and Auberg are 4 up over Henley and Scheffler right now. 1 up for Hatton and Rahm over Justin Thomas and Bryson DeChambeau. But Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele are holding up their end of the bargain. They have a 1-up lead on McIntyre and Hovland right now.
We might have some camera issues after this break, Mark. I've had the voice get risen to me a little too much on that side of the room over there with that tiger hat on.
We need the pictures of those candy stripes.
And, it's unbelievable. Not even supporting the red in the candy stripes with the U.S.
What a reach.
There's got to be some European that went to Illinois that, James is probably cheering for. Thomas Dietrich, right?
I was going to say, I think I picked him when we were doing the Masters.
Yeah. Thomas Peters, didn't he go to Illinois too? Unbelievable.
Hey, master class. Big Ten, a perennial champion, Illinois golf, I'll say.
Geez.
All right.
He's going to make me puke right
Anything
now.
else you guys want to throw in before we move along?
Nah, I just want to beef with Kevin. Mark, cut the cameras again.
That's what you like to, is beef. This sports report is brought to you by Bet365. When it comes to sportsbooks, Bet365 has it all. Download the app today and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 21 plus only, must be located in Indiana. The president of the Indiana Fever stops by for a big playoff game preview and a state of the franchise as we continue next on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Talking about what a big weekend of sports it is this weekend. Of course, we've had the Ryder Cup on all morning long, and that's kept Kevin on the edge of his seat. And we've been talking about a big weekend. It's the finishing weekend of Major League Baseball. And, of course, the Reds, they're one game behind the Mets, 3 to play. They have the tiebreaker with the Mets. They will play in Milwaukee, not easy. The Cubs will be hosting the Cardinals this week. And the Mets, by the way, have to play at Miami. And then also the American League, a couple of races coming right down to the wire. We start the last weekend of play tied between a couple of them. And so the Detroit Tigers that once had a 12.5-game lead over the Cleveland Guardians are trying to hang on for dear life. They start the series, the weekend series tied. Guardians will host the Rangers, and Detroit will play at Boston. So a lot of interesting to watch there. And, of course, a lot of big football coming up. And I just had a feeling, I know it's tough, and I talked about it earlier, but I got a feeling Indiana's just rolling right now. And I think they're going to be just fine going into Iowa. I think that they may have a fairly comfortable win there.
Well, as the resident, candy-striped pants wearer.
I ask you, yeah.
I must say I agree, Jeff. I think that, this is a game where, again, it's going to be a test because on the road, and Iowa historically has done pretty well, obviously at home, harsh environment for the road opponents, but I just think that this IU team, they didn't make that statement last week to come out this week and, lay an egg or something like that. And I think Kurt Signetti would never allow that.
History would say Iowa's O-line's pretty good. Curious about that. Illinois' O-line looked like us three.
No, it was terrible
out there. So I think that is a big storyline to keep an eye on. But, yeah, looking forward to that. 3:30, that's a peacocker. Just fair warning to IU fans out there. Obviously, we'll have it on our airwaves as well.
Yep, and looking forward to that. In the meantime, huge playoff game tonight. We've been talking about it all week and all morning. Indiana Fever at the Fieldhouse, 7:30 tip in their best-of-5 semifinal playoff series in the WNBA with the Las Vegas Aces. They did their job on the road. They took one. They come home with a split, but as Kevin's been saying, an uber pivotal Game 3 tonight. And joining us here to tell us more about that and the state of the franchise, Kelly Krauskopf, who is the team president on the Payless Liquors hotline. Boy, are there any butterflies in the stomach when you wake up this morning as the team president of this Indiana Fever team, Kelly?
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on. Look, I've been doing this a long time, so it's fun. This is the best time, and with everything that we've been through as a team and this group of players and coaches, I'm just really in awe of what they've been able to achieve and overcome. So each game that we get to keep playing, it adds more to how special this season is.
Kelly, you talk about persevering and overcoming, and I think a player who embodies that more than probably anybody on that roster is Kelsey Mitchell. Being here so long, having the success here in the playoffs, how would you describe the person and the player that Kelsey Mitchell is, and how grateful are you to have her be a part of this franchise?
Oh, Kelsey was the last draft pick that I made for the Fever before I left to go join Kevin and Chad on the Pacers side. So she was in my draft class in 2018, and I just the career that she's had, and she's stuck with this franchise and gone through all of the being in the building, not being in the building, being relocated to play in various places around the city, and just grinding. Really, she's a baller. That's all I can say. I mean, she loves the game. She's really committed to being a great pro. She's a great teammate. She's a great person. She lost her dad, who was really such a significant part of her life, as all of our parents are. But her dad and her were, this was a big loss in her life last year. And so I'm just thrilled for her that we're in this position. And she has led us. Honestly, she's just put this team on her back. And I feel like she's having the most fun that she's ever had because, she's feeling all of this come together for her finally at the right time. I told her, I said, look, it took us 10 years to win our first championship with a player like Tamika Catchings. And her eyes got big. She was like, are you kidding me? I was like, no, that's, it takes a while sometimes. But I'm really happy for her.
Yeah, I mean, ask Peyton Manning, 6 years to win his first playoff game. That Super Bowl, I think, came in year 9. Kelly, first off, congrats. It's a hell of a story. And I don't know if our listeners fully realize just how new some of these faces are to people that'll play pivotal roles tonight. I asked this to Pat Boylan a few weeks ago, and I'll ask you this. Do you have a story of whether it's Odyssey Sims, Shea Petty, Ariel Powers? I know Chloe Bibby's hurt, but some of these people that weren't on the roster at the start of the year, how you found them, now they're playing pivotal roles. Is there a singular story in some of the new faces that has really stood out to a team that's kind of defined resiliency all year long?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Odyssey Sims has played 12 regular season games with us. Shea Petty has played 9. Ariel Powers has played 8. And look at where we are. The night that we lost 2 point guards in one game against Phoenix, I had flown back. Amber Cox, our GM, was still with the team. We're on the phone. I started making calls from here in Indy to track down Odyssey because we had kind of kept eyes on her. Ari McDonald was a replacement player, and we had to replace the replacement players. Who we had ultimately signed. But yeah, I mean, that night, overnight into the next morning, tracking down Odyssey, and we were thrilled and really that she was available, just surprised that she was available because of her experience. I mean, she was the number 2 pick in the draft in 2014 and is an accomplished longtime seasoned veteran. So got her, found her in Dallas, got her on a plane the next day. And, with Ariel Powers, I mean, she was literally in Turkey, was over there training with some players and was really, her agent was like, well, she's got the steal and she's kind of overseas now. But as soon as she was told Indiana needed her, I mean, she jumped on a flight and came back to these States and the rest is history.
Yeah. It's been a long season, a lot of injuries. Of course, everybody always wants to talk about the Caitlin Clark injury, and it just kind of lingered, and then one injury turned into another injury. I know it's been frustrating for everyone there, but should people be worried long term, or is this just making sure we get Caitlin Clark right for moving forward?
It's that. It's making sure she's right, and when she suffered the ankle injury, it was just a way to say, look, we gotta slow this down, make sure that everything is, this is a long-term play for us, and she also believes that, and this is really about her long-term health. We kind of get delusional sometimes, go, geez, what would this team look like right now if she was out there, and we had Sophie Cunningham out there, and we had Erie out there, but Caitlin's going to be fine. She's doing great. And, like most competitors, I mean, she's trying to be out there and do what she can do. So every single day she's working out and plans to be fully returned as well as just, 100% times 10, I think. I think there's just a great experience for her to learn from the sidelines. But obviously we'd rather have her out there, but she's going to be great.
Kelly, we all know that she's brought so many eyes to the sport and certainly the Fever. I saw this morning and I was mildly and happily surprised. Tuesday's Fever Aces semifinal game 2 averaged 1.7 million viewers on ESPN. That's the largest second-round playoff audience since the Comets and Sparks way back in 2000. Are you surprised at all that people came for Caitlin Clark, but they've stayed for the basketball?
Well, that's kind of the way it works. I mean, a player like Caitlin brought this entirely new fan base, sort of a casual fan base, people that had knew of the league but really didn't watch and stay tuned, and then now they're fans of our team and they're fans of the WNBA. So this is the halo effect, and this is the rising tide. And I can't say I'm surprised because I think, we have a generation of fans that have grown up with, the WNBA's been here now. We're coming up on a 30-year anniversary. So there's finally, some traction on really understanding what they're seeing. And the fan base of these players is an extension of who they are. They can tell their stories through social media, through their own deals. So there's all kinds of ways to attach to these athletes. And so we're thrilled, I think. But again, Caitlin was the catalyst. She was the one that really lifted the engagement, the fan engagement, and all the fans that have come and have stuck around.
And again, we have Kelly Krauskopf, the Fever president, joining us on the Pale Slickers hotline. And Kelly, when you look at the job that Stephanie White has done this season, how gratifying has that been, knowing how much this means to her, especially, I guess, as of late a little bit, I'm seeing some waterworks, and I'm not used to this side of Stephanie White, but it shows how much she cares about this team and this run that they're on going into Game 3.
Yeah, look, Steph is, she was an original member of our franchise. That was the first player transaction I ever made, as an executive, was to bring her here to wear the uniform. So, and look, she understands that this is special, what's happening, and the job that they're able to get, these players together in such a quick fashion to compete in a playoff environment is I felt like Stephanie should have been a Coach of the Year candidate. Extremely. You're taking a group of new players and assembling them and putting us in a position down the stretch of the season when those final votes were in. But yeah, I think for her it's special in a lot of ways. Being from Indiana, growing up here, playing here. And we know inside the locker room that we have something special, and I think nobody wants this to end. We want to see how far this goes.
Kelly, thanks for joining us here on a Friday morning. It's gonna be a lot of fun at the Fieldhouse later on tonight. Anything else about tonight, this team moving forward that you feel people should need to know?
No, look, we know we have a tough place to play, but we're going to need it. We're going to need it really loud tonight and Sunday. This is bring out everything. You bring everything out with you, and hopefully everybody goes home fourth, and we've got another W.
I like it. Thanks again. We'll talk to you soon. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
President of the Indiana Fever, Kelly Krauskopf, joining us here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. That place will be loud tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Might be one of the more loud environments I've ever been a part of in my life. So I'd imagine that first three that goes down, it'll be rocking.
Yeah. We talk about all the injuries that they have had, and she addressed that this year. But at the end of the day, too, there are a lot of teams that would like to be in the predicament of having Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell leading their teams as you move through the playoffs. Those two consistent presences are the biggest reason that they're in this spot right now.
Yeah, it's a great duo, and obviously Mitchell was heroic in Game 1. We'll see if she can drum up some of that tonight. Again, best of 5 winner tonight, in my opinion, wins the series.
All right, coming up in a moment, our picks for the weekend, especially the Colts and Rams. Join us next on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
A lot of great feedback this morning and a lot of ways to get back to us. I'm getting emails from folks. I'm getting tweets on X. I'm getting texts. I love it. It's all good. Super salesman Joe Koppel says he remembers when the Colts beat the Raiders the last game of the season in 1986. They started 0-13, fired the coach. Ron Meyer took over, and then they went 3-0 to end the season 3-13. They traded for Eric Dickerson mid-year 87 after the strike. A lot going on back in that time with the Rams and the Colts. So that's good too. Jason Ellis tweeting at us, got up. His wife, a teacher out there, got up early and went to Operation Football this morning. Can't wait to see the clips on WTHR TV. They did this in their son Wyatt's senior year. Now it's Sawyer, their son's senior year. So go to the Ellises. A lot of high school football going out there. Richard Reeves says, favorite Tomlin quote after losing to the Patriots. Remember, I'm not saying anything. I'm telling you what happened. Our headsets kept having random static. Remember that one, that game?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, there was all of a sudden the Steelers headsets went out and the Patriots headsets were doing just fine.
Honestly, the only thing I can think about right now is how bad Bryson's been the last 2 holes. He stinks. Send him back to live.
See, you praised him in the first hole, and now you're back on your hater.
You got to turn that first match around.
Well,
Bryson misses a 10-footer for the win, then hits it in the bunker on the next hole. No, I mean, you got to turn that first match around.
Well, we try to, soothe Kevin Bowen's spirit over there to my left. Let's hit the phone lines. We have Josh on the line.
Yeah, Josh has a question about Rams.
Colts, Rams. Josh,
1070.
You are on the air on this fine Friday. What do you got for me?
Good morning, fellas. 2 things. First and foremost, I definitely appreciate the show. Favorite morning show since the Grady and Big Joe show. I wanted to put that out there. Secondly, it's ironic to me that we are playing the Rams this weekend because I've been saying that it feels like the Colts are the greatest show on turf 2.0. I look at the wide receivers that they had: Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Hakeem, Ricky Pro versus Michael Pittman, A.D. Mitchell, Alec Pierce, and now you can throw in a tight end as well. You look at Marshall Faulk versus Jonathan Taylor, even London Fletcher versus Zaire Franklin, and then taking it to the quirky head coaches, Mike Martz versus Shane Steichen. So just curious as to what you guys think about that. And then lastly, if you look at cornerback help, a name that I would love the Colts to at the very least kick the tires on is Asante Samuel Jr. And that's it. I'm slide over here. You guys have a great weekend and go Colts.
Good stuff. I like it.
Yeah, Josh has a couple of different thoughts there. So thanks for
school project on the greatest show on turf.
Yeah, I was going to say he did his research there and getting show the show some love as well. I do wonder, though, would the Colts kick the tires a bit more on a couple other cornerbacks if they feel like Xavier Howard, for example, doesn't hold up after a couple more weeks. I don't know how I feel about his level of play so far this season, so I don't hate that idea. But also the fact that conversation we just had with Josh about the greatest show on turf and the Colts and all these comparisons, and we didn't all just bust out laughing or hang up on him, quite frankly, lets you know how good the offenses looked.
Yeah, 24 hours ago.
If you'd have bet that at training camp, would you have ever guessed that we'd be comparing the Colts to the greatest show on turf?
Hey, Josh, man, you got to stop, having a little fun in the morning when it comes to the jug of beer. So,
Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt is high praise, guys.
Josh, thank you for listening and appreciate the call. 24 hours ago, I asked you guys the question: better chance IU is in the College Football National Championship or the Colts are in the Super Bowl? And neither of you laughed at me.
Right.
Yeah, that is the reality. Now, I can't go greatest show on turf here just yet, Josh, I guess full throttle. But that is, to me...
It's been great so far. How about that?
I don't want that to diminish the 3-week run the Colts have had. I mean, they've been historically good. Go back to the Matt Taylor numbers that he threw at us. Again, they are doing things that we have hardly ever seen in the NFL. One of the stats he threw at us, the only other team that's done it through 3 weeks, the 2007 New England Patriots, who played an undefeated season until the final minute of the whole year.
Yeah.
So, again, it's extremely high praise, and it's why every day this week I've probably said it. Hell, I've probably said it every hour. I can't wait for Sunday because now these are the more legit tests, the barometers of like, okay, can you do it on the road? Can you do it against quality competition? Can you do it as a road underdog? Can you do it against a Hall of Fame quarterback? I mean, when's the last time the Colts have beaten a Hall of Fame quarterback? You got to go back a little bit. So I think that aspect to this challenge coming up on Sunday, and really, you're probably not going to get it next week with the Raiders. You're probably not going to get it the week after with the Cardinals. That's why this one, to me, is circled in the big ol' highlighter action coming up at 4 o'clock on Sunday.
It's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. Of course, Circle City Classic tomorrow, 3 p.m., Lucas Oil Stadium, Miles College, Morgan State. Our buddy Q, one of my favorites, says if you guys want a marching band Rhythm 101, he'll be down at the Circle City Classic pep rally, 4 o'clock this afternoon.
That does sound fun.
I need rhythm, period, Q, so I might hit you up for that, unless I'm doing the little young jock at Grand Park when I felt like the rhythm, and James Boyd, I actually think, agreed with me that he thought the Kevin Bone rhythm was on point.
I thought Maddie should have showed you a little more
thank you
love on that one.
Yeah. Maddie, did you hear that? Show me a little bit more love.
My wife thinks I'm hopeless.
Courtesy of James
Boyd. Don't say that too loud now. You know, you go home and get the pregnant wife. I think you're going to lose that battle, brother.
A little more than 60 seconds left. Let's get our Rams Colts picks in.
27-24 Rams. I think the Kenny Moore injury is too much to overcome.
I'll go 27-23 Colts.
I'm going to go 31-23 Rams. I think that's a really good football team that's going to be contending for the NFC title by the end of the year, and too many injuries in the secondary, not enough pass rush. That worries me.
30-20 Rams. A loss isn't the end of the world for the Colts. This is their toughest test easily all year, and they're on the road.
Oh, yep. I'm the only one out here on this island. Hopefully I survive.
Kevin, quickly.
I already said it, didn't I?
You did. I apologize. Yeah. My bad. That's going to wrap it up for us today. Thanks so much for being a part of a busy, busy day. We going to come back here on these foursomes, by the way, real quick?
Right now, it's not looking good. Bryson, Justin Thomas, head out of ass. Now.
The ride with JMV from Behringer's Tavern today from 3 to 6 down on South Meridian. Jake at